action, lots of things lined up for tonight. And as we said, should be a good show. Big thank you to everyone that watched the Raw review shorts that went out last night as well. I am going to start doing those on a regular basis. So they've kind of changed and evolved over time. We used to do them as like a separate stream for a while. Then we started doing them as like shorter videos. Now it's turned like I put them on the second channel and everything. Now it's just turned into something completely different as it's continued to evolve. But I kind of really like where it is now. And where it is now is it's just a short 1-minute video that basically tells you everything you need to know, what you need to know from Raw, from NXT. Going to do it tonight, and SmackDown. So I'm looking to do those 3 shows, Raw, NXT, SmackDown, do a little short video, be up about an hour after the show, because obviously I've got to make it. So be up about an hour after the show, and basically just goes through this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. Obviously, if you watch the show, I could appreciate, like, maybe that's not going to be the most useful thing for you. But there's obviously a lot of people that tend to jump in, go, oh, I'm late, what have I missed? Or you might just want a bit of a recap as to what's happened on that show. Or maybe you miss an episode, and so, like, be a good thing to, like, go back to. It's one of those as well where you could actually go back to certain weeks, and if you want to know what happened on Raw for the month of January, in 4 minutes, you would have everything you need to know from the month of January in regards to Raw. So I really like that. I like the idea of that kind of content being short and quick and to the point. And so I'm kind of exploring that at the moment. So yes, we are going to look to do that tonight for NXT as well. Right, so again, I know that we were just coming live as people were jumping in. So let me just quickly go through that card again so that people are up to speed. Carmelo and Grayson Waller are going to be face-to-face. I think it's a Grayson Waller effect as we build towards spring break-in next week. We've got Wes Lee against Charlie Dempsey tonight. We've got Gigi Dolin against Cora Jade. And we've got Creed Brothers against Gallus against the Dyads. I don't think they've gone back to Grizzled Young Veterans. I know they're unhappy and they asked for their release. I don't believe that was granted. So I think they're the Dyads still. And they're being given some opportunity now, which is good. You know, we haven't really been seeing them being used in that tag division. They've just sort of been in schism. So it seems like they've had a word saying they're not happy. And now we're starting to see them used in the tag division again, which is good. It is good. I mean, they might want to go back to the Grizzled Young Veteran name rather than the Dyads, because I don't think that's doing much for them, to be honest. But yeah, one to keep an eye on. I don't know. I don't know where I am with the tag division, to be honest, because obviously we're very close to the draft, and a team like the Creed Brothers, I think you could move on them now. I mean, they've looked really good. Maybe you could make the argument that they could work a bit more on their promos, but I think they're doing a decent job there. I think they're there if the main roster feels they can use them. It's just, can the main roster use them? Because I think they'd be a great addition to, say, the SmackDown tag division by bringing up the Creed Brothers. So I really like them. Maybe you could make an argument for Pretty Deadly. They're pretty fun. They would sit quite nicely on Raw, for example. I could see Pretty Deadly to Raw, Creed Brothers to SmackDown. I think Bron Breakker has definitely got a good chance of coming up. Grayson Waller has probably got a chance of coming up. We haven't seen Cameron Grimes in quite a while, so I'm thinking he's probably got a good chance of coming up as well. So there's definitely a few names that I'm looking at thinking there's probably a chance we could see them feature in the draft. I do expect there to be a good showing of NXT talent that will feature in the draft. But we can talk about that. We can talk about Twitch. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about in regards to WWE or AEW or whatever you want to talk about in the world of wrestling. Not loads of news today, to be honest. Bit of a quiet day, all things considered. The Twitch story, probably the biggest story. And outside of that, pretty quiet. I must admit, there wasn't loads out of Raw. I thought Raw was a decent show, but there wasn't like, oh my God, like type moments. People were really into the Miz match against Seth. People, I think, are kind of feeling what's happening with the Usos. I think they enjoyed that opening segment. I think the big brawl at the end, the chaos, people seem to enjoy. So there was things that people enjoyed, but I think what Raw didn't necessarily have was like an OMG moment. Didn't really have anything in the way of, oh my God, did you see that on Raw? You know, it kind of maybe missed that, but overall, solid. I mean, it was a solid show. I watched it. I was entertained by it. I know that the scores came in and people were like really high on it. 8 to 10, I think, got 50% in our chat. So it was definitely an episode that was very well received, but not an episode that I think particularly gave us something to talk about now, if you know what I mean. I suppose the big talking point is Cody and Brock, and obviously that 6-man tag and the Backlash card starting to come together. Draft just being a week away as well. So I suppose that's where the conversations are. I mean, in all fairness, if you think that the draft is a week away, it means they can't really start anything new, because anything you start now is you know, likely either both those stars are gonna have to go to the same brand, like Bronson and Bobby, for example, so that feud can continue, or you just gonna have to do a very short feud. You're just gonna have to do, so you're kind of in this awkward phase right now, where all the big juicy stories are having to wait till the draft is done. So that's, I think, why we're in a little bit of like limbo. So if you put that into consideration, if you think about it from that regard, last night was really good because they were able to still give us a really entertaining show with that kind of restriction applied of you can't really start anything new at the moment because of the draft being so soon. So big shout out to Alfie, who says, hey you. Hope you're well, bud. Hope you've had a good day. Alfie as well says, Undertaker Brock became an overnight sensation. It was, man. I mean, it was a wild Undertaker appreciation night on Raw, wasn't it? For the dead man, with both Trish and Brock coming out in black hats and long black kind of jacket cardigan things. It was fun. It was fun. There was some fun moments. I mean, that sign, I wish I was green shirt guy. That was pretty fun. Liv Morgan getting all that water chucked in her face. That was pretty fun. So there was definitely some fun moments that featured on Raw. And you know what? We're not getting anymore. That's the real cringy moments. We're not getting those moments that you go, oh, God, I hope no one walks in now and sees me watching this type thing, you know? Oh, God. Like, I didn't feel that. I just thought that the whole thing was pretty credible, pretty good. Strong episode. So, yeah, we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. And as I said, that was definitely a decent episode. Lance said, you're the man, Daze. Is Tyler Bate still around? Yeah, so I did touch on this, but we didn't really explore it during the Wrestling Escape Pods. Tyler Bate is rumored to be considered for the draft because he opened a few eyes during his main event match. I am struggling to believe that, to be honest. The reason why is because Triple H will be fully aware of Tyler Bate because Triple H was fully involved in the UK tournaments. He was involved in setting up NXT UK. He has seen Tyler Bate countless times. Tyler Bate has had some big matches along with Pete Dunne on TakeOver. The idea that Tyler Bate opened eyes after his match on main event, I just don't buy. I just don't believe. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Because who isn't aware of Tyler Bate? And I know that Triple H is. I know he is. I've been in Blackpool at the TakeOver shows that Tyler Bate has been on, and then Triple H has walked out at the end to thank the fans, right? So unless every time Tyler Bate had a match, Triple H was like that in Gorilla, not watching, and now all of a sudden he's gone, wow, actually that Tyler Bate's quite good. I just think, like, to be honest, I think what's happened is I think that Tyler's had a decent match with Dolph Ziggler on main event. I think the people that have watched it want to basically shout about it because I think that it's. I mean, I've seen the clips. I haven't watched the whole match, but from what I've seen, it looks all right. It doesn't strike me as being a 5-star classic or anything. But I think because they've had a decent match on main event, that's probably noteworthy, right? And so I think people are just trying to get as much mileage out of that as possible. Because one thing that I think wrestling fans love, and one thing that wrestling fans always want, and I did as well, is you want to be told of like, oh my God, did you see that banger on main event? Did you see that banger? Like, you need to watch main event this week. People love to be in on the know. That's what it is. That's why the wrestling news is so popular, because people want to be in on the know. They want to know before anyone else. They want to be ahead of the curve, right? So if there has been a banger on main events, people want to know. So because people want to be there, people want to, be seen to be, yeah, of course. Oh, I watch main event every week. Of course I saw it, yeah. So for me, I think that this is just a bit more mileage that these reporters are getting out of that match. So it's like, because of that amazing match that Tyler Bate and Dolph Ziggler had on main event, now there's talk of him coming up in the draft. I ain't buying it. I'm not buying it. I could be proven to be wrong, but who is not aware of Tyler Bate? Right? Who's not aware of Tyler Bate? And plus also, he's only recently just arrived in NXT. I mean, he hasn't been in NXT that long. I think it was literally earlier this year, because it was last year that we did NXT UK against NXT. We did Bron Breakker against Tyler Bate, right? So they did that match. Then I think there was like visa issues and travel issues and whatever. And that got sorted, and now he's permanently in the US. And so really, it's only been since early this year, so the past few months, that he's really been settled in NXT. And if you think they've just been using him with Chase U, I mean, the last time we saw Tyler Bate, he was with, well, I don't know if it was the last time, but at Stand and Deliver, it was him and Chase U against Schism in a pre-show match at Stand and Deliver. So I don't know, I just find it really hard to believe that all of a sudden now, because of one match on main event, people are like, yeah, let's call him up. Let's have him in the draft. We can do something with him. Like, what? What? It doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't add up. This is a 2 + 2 = 5 kind of a story to me. So, yeah, I don't know. I can't get my head around it. I think my gut feeling is that there's been a great match on main event. I think that people want to talk about it, and they're trying different ways to mention it, because I think there is some clicks and views in it. And I think this is just one of the things they've come up with. So if he's in the draft, I'll be stunned, right? And feel free, if he's in the draft, to go, you doubted it. You didn't think he would be. He is. That story was true. Feel free to throw it back in my face. Feel free. You have got absolute free reign to do that, because I don't buy it. Just doesn't add up. Doesn't add up to me. He's only just arrived in NXT. He's being used on a Stand and Deliver pre-show. He's just bobbing around in NXT at the moment. We haven't really got going with some juicy feuds in NXT. And now all of a sudden he's going to be in the draft. Because of one match against Dolph Ziggler that's apparently opened some people's eyes. Yeah, don't buy it. Wes said, I've tweeted you. Thank you, Wes. What have you tweeted me? You have tweeted me... end plastic waste, introducing our new away kits, our new Planet jersey. What, for who? Atlanta? Looks, I don't know. Looks like it's got a lot of detail on it. It looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. If Tyler Bate is in the draft, cut a heel promo on Daze for doubting you. I don't see any surprises in the draft in terms of call-up, said Trini. I don't know. That's an interesting one. It's an interesting one because I think this is where Mandy Rose and Toxic Attraction would have come up. I think that they would have come up here, and with Mandy not around, all of a sudden Toxic Attraction have now been split up, and all of a sudden, do they now find themselves further down the pecking order? As a women's tag team, I think Toxic Attraction could have come up as Gigi and JC, two separate stars. I'm not so certain because we just haven't seen them as separate stars. So if we were to call them up now as solo stars, we would be doing something with them on the main roster. We have not been doing down in NXT. They've been a tag team. I know they have had some singles matches, but it does feel like they should have a bit of a run as single stars first. So all of a sudden, I don't see Toxic Attraction coming up or them as two solo stars coming up. I mean, Gigi in particular is very experienced as Priscilla Kelly, but I still think they're going to want to keep her down in NXT for just that bit longer if we're now going to go as down the solo route rather than a tag team. Mandy Rose has gone. Braun, I think, is the one. I think Braun, but he's just turned heel, and so we haven't really had a chance to explore him as a heel. So, that's going to be an interesting one to see what they do now with him as a heel. Carmelo's champ, so I don't see him going up. Grayson, if he doesn't win next week at Spring Breakin, could be interesting. Because, I mean, there's loads of people that have been called up that were never champion, right? So it's not like you have to be the champ in order to get called up. We've seen loads get called up that weren't champion. But I think a lot of people are probably waiting for Grayson to be champion. It feels like at some point he will be champion. But honestly, that just might not be in the stars for him. That just might not be on the cards. So, yeah, it's interesting. I agree. I mean, you do look and go, oh, I'm not sure about this person, not sure about that person. It's hard to make a real strong argument for anyone, but I think the one that I would feel probably best about would be Braun. And in the women, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of looking at Zoe Stark. She's been around for a while. She's been a solo star for a while. She is, I don't think, going to get to the women's title. So do we just keep bobbing around with her? I mean, she can wrestle. She can go. We've used her in the Rumble. Indy Hartwell is someone that I would feel similar about. She's been around for a while. Don't think we were going to get her to the belt, but we did. But now she's champion. I'm thinking they're probably going to leave her to have a run. They're probably going to leave her there with the belt for a bit to get some experience under her belt as being a champion. I think it's way too soon for Roxanne, so I don't see Roxanne coming up. I don't know. It's interesting. Surprises in the draft is a very interesting conversation. Because I sort of feel like we didn't really get many surprises at WrestleMania. There wasn't many surprises after WrestleMania. So it's been a while since we've had some NXT talent coming up. So I feel like the timing is probably right to do it, but is the talent there to do it? So really interesting conversation. Really interesting. Cascade said, despite the championship, Indy and Zoe should be called up. T85 Restored said, Raw stars against NXT stars is being used for main event pretty much. I think Toxic Attraction had some matches on SmackDown when the women's tag titles tournament was rolling. Eric said, what do you think of the rumors of LA Knight winning Money in the Bank? What do I think of the rumors of LA Knight winning Money in the Bank? Not sold on it, to be honest, because if he wins Money in the Bank, so I think, look, LA Knight is over, and LA Knight definitely deserves a push, But that is a big thing to give him Money in the Bank, because I know it doesn't have to succeed, but you are basically saying this is going to be a future champion, right? I know it didn't work out for Austin Theory, but that is, without shadow of doubt, one of the worst cash-ins. I would go as far as to say the worst cash-in I've ever seen. And now you've got LA Knight. And as I said, he could fail. So it could be that he carries the briefcase, gets loads of like shine from that, loads of people talking about, because the great thing is, if you've got the briefcase, people at the shows will always talk about you. Do you think LA Knight will cash in at this show? Do you think LA Knight will cash in at that show? Blah, 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 right? And so you're constantly being talked about, which is brilliant. So it's great for that. But equally, aren't we also sort of saying, like, this guy stands a really good chance of being a world champion, Universal champion, or WWE champion? Like, that's big. That's really big. If you think about how desperate people are to see Cody achieve that and Sammy achieve that, for them to put Money in the Bank on LA Knight, that'd be big. So the reports and the rumors are that Triple H knows that that's the guy he wants. And listen, if he's going to get behind him, if he's like, look, this guy is organically over, I know a star when I see it. Yes, we're going to put the world title on him. Yes, this is the guy. If that's how Triple H feels, okay, cool. But that's a big call, isn't it? That's a big call. That's a big call, because you are really getting behind LA Knight there. I mean, I think the fans just right now want to see LA Knight getting used in feuds and, you know, build him towards a mid-card title or do something with him. I genuinely don't know that there's a genuine clamor right now for him to be Universal champion or WWE. I'm sure there are hardcore LA Knight fans that feel that way. For me, I like him. I've said before, I don't quite get the euphoria around him. He seems to have been, I mean, down in NXT, people liked him, but they weren't like mental over him like they are on the main roster. He seems to, his transition from NXT to the main roster has just been incredible. I mean, down in NXT, he was not a NXT champion. He was, you know, he wasn't around that. He wasn't used in the main events. He was doing like a $1 million championship thing with $1 Million Man and Cameron Grimes, which was fun. And it was good, and he was good. But like, oh my God, for him to now so quickly, he only came up at the end of last year. So I don't even think he was on the roster at the time of last year's Money in the Bank. So all of a sudden now, we're pulling the trigger on him being this year's winner. If he does, I don't mind. To be honest, he's the kind of person that I like seeing win Money in the Bank, to be honest. He's the kind of person that I enjoy to see win Money in the Bank, so I wouldn't be against it. I know it might sound like I'm against it. I'm not. I'm just surprised by it, because that's not the sort of name that I would expect. There's so many names. I mean, you've got the likes of Sammy, who was red hot earlier this year, you know? You've got the likes of Finn Balor, who has really struggled to get back up there to, like, you know, title contention. You know, you've got Seth Rollins, who would be a great Mr. Money in the Bank. I mean, he was last time. He'd be great this time. There was a few thoughts on Cody, and it was mentioned in the chat, have Cody win it and then announce his match in advance and cash in that way to get Cody back up there again. I don't mind that. It does feel maybe a little bit of a waste of the briefcase. I think people love the moment where they come running down, cashing in, and I wouldn't do that for Cody, just because sort of feels like the first time he wins it probably should be in a main event, in a war, very much like we saw at WrestleMania, and then he finally does it, the boyhood dream comes true type thing, you know? I don't know that I would have his first one be a Money in the Bank cash in. But as we said, there's options. There's plenty of options of people that could win it. So LA Knight one, I think that he is flavor of the month. I think that he will still be hot by the time we get to Money in the Bank. I think he will be in it. I think he'll have a chance. I don't know that he's my pick to win it, though. But the rumors certainly are saying that he is the favorite. Yeah, the rumors are saying that. T85 said Tyler had never been on the main roster before Ziggler main event match. Is Tyler Black persona coming to WWE? Said Richards. No, don't expect that. There is a T-shirt that's gone up for sale. I don't know if it's is it Pro Wrestling Tees or WWE? I don't know. I don't know if it's Pro Wrestling Tees or WWE. I was under the impression it was Pro Wrestling Tees. Now, to my knowledge, WWE don't own the copyright to that. So if Tyler Black shirt is being sold, then that's just a bit of extra money that Seth is making on the sides, because that is his name, and like that is the name he competed under when he was in Ring of Honor and when he was on the indie scene. So yeah, that's something that I think is outside of WWE. I did see that story earlier today. It was interesting, but I didn't see exactly where it was being sold. If it's being sold at Pro Wrestling Tees, then that's just going to be a separate thing. I'm just having a little look now to see where it's being sold, because I did see someone put in that Tyler Black shirt had gone up. Tyler Bate is very much the talk of Twitter today, though. Tyler Black. I'm just scrolling down looking for that shirt. Seth Rollins has released Tyler Black merch. Here we go. But where? Seth has been one of the most dominant champions. It's available at blackandbravemerch.com. So you just go to Black and Brave. So it's not Pro Wrestling Tees, but it's just through their own website. So yeah, I think it's a bit of a non-story, to be honest. So it's basically his old wrestling name, and it's being sold through blackandbravemerch.com. So I'm sure he got like permission from WWE to do that, but in all fairness, they don't own the rights to that name anyway. So it's just him basically selling a shirt through his own channel. Did you see Tony Khan tweet with Vlad the Superfan? No, I didn't. No. I hope you're well, James. Let's have a little look. Tony Khan. If anyone can, it's Tony. Good morning. Morning. At age of 8, on the first pay-per-view I watched, I saw a fan who seemed to be having such a great time. At the age of 12, I joined the IWC. Oh my God. What does that mean? What do you mean you joined the IWC? And learned his name is Vlad. He's a nice guy. It was an honor to meet him. Thank you, Vlad. I like the message behind it of like, this guy's I remember seeing him when I was young. I'm not sure how I feel about at the age of 12 I joined the IWC, which is Internet Wrestling Community, by the way. I joined at the age of 12. What did he do? Like, get a computer? Like, when did he join how do you join? Who do you apply to? At the age of 12, I joined the IWC. And I learned that his name was Vlad. What does that mean? At the age of 12, he went on to like some forums, some chat rooms. In his head, was he going around going, I'm a member of the IWC now? Yes. Come on. IWC. Well, look, it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing. It's slightly strange wording for me, but yeah, Vlad's a legend. You missed JoJo's super chat. Thank you, James. Appreciate it. Because I genuinely would have missed it. Because I am rubbish. Daze, if Bray isn't included in the draft, Would it be time to worry a little or still wait and see since he's dealing with an illness? Jojo, shout out to you. Good question. Great question. I think that it would be fine to wait and see. I honestly, I think that we shouldn't put a time frame on it. I think that without knowing what he's dealing with, it's hard to know. I mean, he could be dealing with some sort of illness that is just taking a bit of time to resolve. I think that, again, without knowing what it is and speculating and all of that, you could easily get yourself concerned and worked up, because the longer it takes, obviously, the more serious it seems to be. But I wouldn't think about it, to be honest. I wouldn't think about it. I wouldn't worry about it. I certainly don't think that it's a case that he's been cut or anything like this. I think that I've read that Creative have been told that he's not cleared right now. That's apparently the rumor. So they've been told he's not cleared, and they will be told as soon as he is, right? So that's the latest. I mean, it's not really much of an update. So it's just we're waiting for him to get cleared. Now, without knowing what it is, we can't put a time frame on it. So, I mean, we've seen that he's out and about, so it doesn't feel like it's a broken bone. I mean, you sort of wish it was, in a way, because at least then you'd know, right, he's got a broken wrist. He's got a broken wrist. He's going to be out for, I don't know, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, right? And you can go, right. But it's the not knowing, isn't it, that kind of, I think is, and I understand the argument. I do really understand the argument that people have, which is leave him alone, give him his space. I completely understand that. But I think you have to remember that to some people, Bray Wyatt means a lot. He means a lot, right? There's people that really idolize him. And I think they are genuine concern. And I think they are genuinely concerned. And I think that for their mental health, it's a problem because there's people that are really getting like a bit panicked, like they really idolize him. They've got tattoos of him and, they just only watch wrestling for him. I mean, if you're of the mindset where you only watch wrestling to watch one wrestler and that one wrestler has not been around for a while and there's no news, you're going to be worried, aren't you? Do you know what I mean? Like, you can tell them people don't worry about it and whatever, but they're going to be worried. So I do understand that there are people that are that involved or have got themselves that involved, But I can't really say much other than, I'm sure he is dealing with it the best that he can. I'm sure that with time, everything works out. I mean, he got released and found a way back. I don't think it's anything along those lines. What we're hearing is that it's an illness or whatever. And again, without knowing a time frame, it's hard to say. I think there's a great chance he'll be in the draft. If I was to speculate, and I don't like doing it. I don't really want to do it, but I'm going to do it. If I was to speculate, I would say that he's had an illness. It's ruled him out of WrestleMania. Disappoint him, but we're at the point now where if we're going to bring him back, we need him to come back with something in mind, because seemingly they're not going to go back to the Bobby thing. So I think we're probably looking at it being a case that he's missed Mania. Right, where are we? Let's take a breath because we've got the draft coming up. So there's no point bringing him back. I mean, if you look at it now, what was the point in bringing him back at Mania or the night after Mania when you can't really start anything because of the draft? So all of a sudden now I'm thinking maybe they are waiting. Maybe the illness is done and maybe that he's had COVID or whatever, right? Dealt with it and missed Mania. And now we're waiting for the draft. So I think there's a good chance he'll be in that. If he's not in that, yeah, that's a concern because that would seem the most logical thing to be waiting for. And so if he's not in that, it suggests that whatever he's dealing with
is a bit more serious than maybe we thought or gave credit to. But let's wait and see. I think if we worry about things that haven't happened yet, like some people could end up working themselves into quite a state, to be honest. So yeah, we'll wait and see. But I think if he's not in the draft, I think that definitely suggests to me that whatever he's dealing with is more serious than what we have maybe initially thought. But again, we just don't know, do we? We're just scrambling around in the dirt looking for clues, scrambling around just trying to decode any little report or any sighting or whatever, So what will be. Que sera, sera. Wrestle with Andy says, do you remember Gable Steveson was part of the last draft? We haven't seen him, and it's time for this. That's true, actually. That is true. Apparently, he dealt with an injury, didn't he? He had like a bit of an illness or some injury or whatever it was. He was dealing with something that ruled him out. And so, yeah, that's a really good point. He was part of the draft. I mean, that has just that's so not gone to plan. I mean, it could not have gone any worse, really. They've wheeled him out. We've had him at WrestleMania. I think we showed him didn't we show him at like SummerSlam 2021? Or yeah, SummerSlam 2021. He came out, waved to the crowds. Then he was at WrestleMania 38, did a little thing with, I remember, Chad Gable. And he was part of the draft, as you said. And we just have not seen, apart from one fleeting appearance when he was with Kurt Angle during Kurt Angle's birthday celebration thing. Do you remember they had the milk truck hosing down? I think it was Miz. And Gable Steveson was a part of that. Other than that, we just haven't seen him. And now, obviously, he's going back into Olympics and amateur stuff. So, wild, isn't it? Wild. Dana said, I have a question for Wrestling Daze and chat. Do you trust Brock Lesnar wrestling Cody? I don't trust Brock wrestling Cody because Brock tries to eat John Cena life. I'm worried. I mean, I trust him to be safe. I think that he will. I think he's going to have fun, actually. I think Brock just wants to have fun. And he had fun at SummerSlam, coming down with that tractor, picking up the ring. I think he really enjoyed that. I think he probably enjoyed getting in there with someone big like Bobby as well. I think he enjoyed that. I think the Amos match might have been something that he got a little kick from as well. And now getting in there with Cody, and now he can be heel again. So he's done the babyface thing. He had fun with the tractor. He got in there with Bobby. Got in there with the Moss. I mean, just, walking out in front of that crowd, I'd imagine was quite an experience. I mean, you don't even do that in the UFC. I mean, you don't walk out in front of 80-odd thousand in the UFC because they tend to do arena shows. Dana White famously doesn't like doing stadium shows. They hardly do them. So, that's an experience you're only really going to get in WWE. So that would have been special for him. So we would have loved that. And now I think he's just going to be loving working with Cody. I think Cody, I don't know if he respects Cody. I think he probably respects the Rhodes name. And I think he probably respects Cody as a performer. Whether I don't think Brock's going to care that Cody set up AEW and all of that kind of stuff. I mean, Brock walked out of WWE and went to New Japan and did American football and went to UFC. So, I mean, I don't think he's going to care that Cody left and has come back. I don't think Brock is like a gatekeeper for the WWE in a way that like Undertaker was, because Undertaker never left. And that's one of the things that really earned him a lot of respect. You can't say that about Brock. And plus, he works a very part-time schedule as well. So he's not, do you know what I mean? He ain't busting his gut going from town to town. So I don't know how he feels about Cody, to be honest. But I believe him to be safe and very experienced. He's big, though. He's explosive. If he throws a potato, Cody will know about it. If it gets a bit rough and ready in there, Cody will know about it. So Cody probably does need to tread a little careful in there. I always think back to that Braun Strowman moment, which was amazing.
I think it was in a Rumble. I don't think it was a Rumble match. I think there was a multi-man match at a Royal Rumble. I forget what year. It was a few years ago. And basically, Braun accidentally kneed Brock. And Brock was like stunned because it came sharp. And Brock just saw red and just responded with a punch. Legitimate punch. An actual, not fake, real punch. And he just cracked Braun Strowman. And there's this moment where Strowman's like wobbly. He doesn't go down, in all fairness. Doesn't go down, but he is God. He is out on his feet. If it was an MMA fight, Strowman is there to be took down. You could have took him down, got round the back, got a rear naked choke applied, grabbed an arm, got him in an arm bar, maybe gone for a Kimura, maybe jumped on top of him, started smacking more shots in. Like, Strowman would have been dead in the water if that was a proper fight. And he gets caught and he is like, oh, man. And that's Strowman. I mean, if he does that to Cody Rhodes, Cody's going to go into, like, Row Z. Straight up into the stands. So I would say Cody probably needs to be careful. Make sure he's not throwing anything too legitimate, because if something legitimate comes back, he'll be in trouble. But no, I mean, like, you don't really hear of Brock not being a safe worker or Brock causing problems for performers or anything. So it's not like Nia Jax, where people were getting like hurt and like you wouldn't see them for like months after they'd faced Nia Jax in a match. So I think it'll be all right. Boom. What time is it? 3 minutes. Oh my god. Dana said John Cena not number one. John Cena put over Sammy in a tag match. I hope John Cena don't go in the Hall of Fame because Cena didn't put Sammy over. Purple People Eater said as long as Vince keeps handing him paychecks with lots of zeros, what does he care? That's true. Although saying that, he does have some sort of feeling in there. He's not as like just completely void of human emotion, because where I thought that was very interesting when he found out that Vince had gone and he walked out. I mean, that's, you know, if he didn't put the money over Vince in that situation, did he? And you know, I don't think he was going to have to worry about people not using him. So he stood by Vince. He really stood by Vince. He was like, if Vince ain't around, I ain't around. And he walked out. And they had to try and get in touch with him and get him to come back to the show. Because he found out, I think it was at Raw, that Vince had gone. And he was like, well, if Vince has gone, I'm gone. And he walked out. So, but as I said, they managed to get him back and he appeared right at the very end of the show. But, so there's some sort of emotion in there. There's some sort of loyalty. You can argue it's loyalty to the wrong person, maybe, but it's there's some sort of loyalty. There's some feeling that seems to be above just cold hard cash. But yeah, I thought that was a very interesting little moment from last year. Thoughts on Bobby Fish? I don't know what he's doing, to be honest. I don't know where he is. I mean, I know that he did a boxing match. And then did he go to Impact, maybe? So, I mean, Bobby Fish, I think he's just getting on now. That's the problem. I think someone like WWE would look at Bobby Fish and question, like, how much are we going to get out of him, considering how much we're going to have to put in, you know, that the TV time that you give Bobby Fish, the push that you give Bobby Fish, the social media mentions, all of that can all be used on someone that's in their 20s rather than someone that's in their 40s. So it's just unfortunate that he's, I think, largely had his career. I mean, you know, I think, what is it, LA Knight 40? You know, this it's maybe another reason as to why it's surprising they're looking to really get behind him if the Money in the Bank rumor is true. But saying that, he's got himself so over, you know, because of his charisma. People love him. So WWE are probably thinking, listen, if we get a few years out of this guy, and who knows, if he keeps himself injury-free, could be 4 years, could be 5 years that we get out of him.
which would make it worth it. But I don't think that Bobby's got that type of charisma, to be honest. So he's a good fighter, legit fighter, fun to watch, great in NXT. I just think they waited way too long to bring up Undisputed Era. They should have moved on him so much quicker. Right, we're starting with a brawl. So we've got the tag teams all brawling away at the moment. So we've got a big tag team brawl to open the show. There is Schism out there. Creeds are out there. It's the teams that are going to be competing later. So we are live with NXT. So Creeds against Dyads. I don't know if this match is starting now or not, but all these teams have just come out. Referee is in the ring. Is calling order to this. Ring the bell, and we are underway. NXT Tag Team Championship on the line. Creed Brothers against Dyad against the champs Gallus. So Dyad against Gallus against the Creeds. Let's go. Let's go. None of Undisputed Era should have had to go through NXT in the first place, says Purple People Eater. Serious Gaming said, title change happening. I'm calling it Dyad as new champs. Waller is 33. Daz said, huge title on AEW tomorrow. What's on there tomorrow, bud? What's happening tomorrow? In draft, who in NXT do you think will be called up? We spoke about that earlier. I'm looking at Braun because he's had a big run with that title. He is a heel now. Which I think is a better fit for him. So you could make the argument they're going to want to give him a run as a heel first. But I think, that interesting. I think you could definitely look at Braun and, could be something there. I think that I like Grayson Waller. I think Grayson's such a good talker. I think you could really do something with him on the main roster. I think Zoe Stark is interesting because she's been around for a while. She's a good, credible wrestler. They've used her at the Rumble. I think Caden and Katana as well. What else can you do with them? Bring them up as like a women's tag team. Caden and Katana. I mean, how long has Katana been in NXT? I mean, she was Casey Catanzaro. She's been used in Rumbles as well. So if you haven't seen what you need to see out of them now, are you ever going to see it? So I think I'd be looking at Braun, Casey and Caden. Or Katana, Katana Chance is her name now. And then I like Grayson. I like Zoe Stark. I think there's a few, but I agree. I think it was Trini said earlier, there's not really anyone that massively jumps out. There's not like a name there that you're like, yeah, they're coming up 100%. We've done everything we can do with them. Because even with Braun, you look at Bron Breakker, hasn't really got that connection with the crowds. As a result, they've turned him heel. Feels like a great move. Brilliant move to turn him heel. But we haven't seen much yet, have we? We haven't seen much out of him. So I feel like it's a great move, but, the proof's in the pudding and we ain't seen no pudding. That's what it comes down to. We need to see pudding. Craig says, Roxanne. James said, I tweeted you about 2K23. Let's have a little look. What's going down in 2K23 town? 2K23. Did you just tweet me, or did you tweet me ages ago? I can't see anything from you, buds. Maybe I've got you blocked. Just like my spirit animal, Sean Rossap. I genuinely can't see anything.
Creed, powerbomb. 1, 2. Dyad, make the save. Yeah, I just tweeted you. Okay. Now let me refresh. You've tweeted the wrong person, bud. It ain't come through to me. Got your block confirmed. Do you think Scripps will ever get called up? If there's a God. He should be there already. There's a cover. 2. Oh, Dyads. Getting a 2. Action-packed. Did you see my tweets about the Stop Oil Snooker thing? It was hilarious with all the memes. Do you know what? To be honest, I put a tweet out that did pretty well, and I've just been flooded with my notifications. I just can't get to them. It's a blessing and a curse, to be honest, because it's really nice to have a tweet get some attention, right? Who doesn't want that? That's lovely. But then equally, all you get is just like a load of people telling you you're an idiot in your notifications. That's literally all I've got. It's just people going like, you're an idiot. Like, oh, you want to job him out? Good call, bro. And all this. And you're like, so to be honest, you just kind of like, forget this. So part of it is not being able to find things apart from people giving you abuse. And then part of it is just like, I can't be bothered to go on to get that abuse, to be honest. So for a few reasons, I've probably been a little less active in my notifications recently. The tweet that I put out, by the way, that got a bit of attention was all, and this is all I said, was as we're going to commercial break, I said, do you know who I would love to see face Roman for a title opportunity? Shelton Benjamin. He really deserves it. He wouldn't win the title, right? Don't get me wrong. He wouldn't win the title, but he deserves that moment. And the reason I said that was because I just happened to be watching some stuff from earlier this year where he celebrated 20 years. And there was a lovely moment on Main Event where he did a little speech and the crowds are like, you know, showing their appreciation. And there was a moment I'd never seen where he was backstage and he's just walking down the corridor and Michin bumps into him. And, you know, they've got this friendly rivalry. They just look at each other, right? This is on the program. And Michin just sort of smiles at him. And there's a little, like, you did well type. She doesn't say it, but it's like, yeah, acknowledgement. And then she walks off. It's a cool little moment because they've got this friendly rivalry that they've had going back, years and years and years. I think it goes all the way back to I think she was on the Mae Young Classic. And I think it goes back to that. But so I was looking at it, I was like, do you know what, man? He's been in WWE 20 years. And we ain't doing nothing with him. And if you listen to Jim Cornette, he always talks about how Shelton Benjamin was one of like the best to come out of that class, like 02, 03. You know, the Batista class, the Cena class, the Brock class. Shelton was like one of the most skilled. And for whatever reason, I genuinely don't know, really these past few years, like since he came back really, because he'd been away for a while, since he came back, like he did the Hurt Business stuff, but outside of that, we just haven't found anything creative for him. I just think that he's one of those kind of forgotten people that has been around for a long time. It's like, you know, he's just not getting his dues. He's not getting his chances. I really like the idea of giving him some wins, giving him a bit of momentum, you know, putting him out there, making him look good, having some decent matches, give him a few wins, put him in a number one contenders like Fatal 4-Way, and he wins. He wins it. And then he gets a shot against Roman on SmackDown. And we basically use it as a way of like, you know, this is Shelton's career. This is what he's been through. It's a massive opportunity for him tonight. And Shelton's like talking about what winning would mean for his career, for his legacy. I can just see that doing well. I can just see people enjoying it, buying into it. As long as you do the groundwork first. You can't just take him and give him a match, right? And I think that's the problem with Twitter is that unless you explain every detail in that level of detail, some people just don't have the ability to creatively think about, okay,
how would we get him there, basically? Can we get him there? They look at where Shelton is now, not even getting on TV. Some might not even know that he's been around as long as he has, to be honest, right? Because some of these might just be kids. Some of them might be new. And so Shelton might not mean to them what he means to some of us, you know, that have known of him for a long time. Gold standard, Shelton Benjamin. And so, like, unless you explain all of that in the tweet, that's why you get people going, oh, you're an idiot. What, you just want him to job out? What, you want? Someone said to me, you want to bury him. You want to bury him. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. You want to bury him? I mean, this is a guy that right now is struggling to get onto TV. I want to give him a title match against Roman. Do a little thing about his career. And I actually had the response. So you want to bury him? There's not enough hours in the day to respond to a comment like that. There's not enough hours. There's not enough. I regret joining the IWC. I know that Tony Khan loves doing it, but I'm sorry, I regret doing it. I want to revoke my membership to the IWC. How do I cancel my membership to the IWC? Maybe I should tweet Tony. I can tweet and ask Tony Khan. How do I get out of the IWC, please? Roll up by... right, we're back to the action. Lovely. Oh, double axe handle as Gallus makes the save. Make Shelton IC champion, then have him face Roman, and do champ versus champ. Winner takes all, said Kieran. I honestly, I think there's ways that you can do it, and I think it would be fun to explore those ways. I think that there's different ways that you can go about it. But that's why I really like the people that join us for these like live streams and whatever. 'Cause I hope that we're a bit more kind of, I mean, I fail, but like open-minded with like, okay. Because I've said before, if you was to work in creative, chances are you're not going to just be allowed to do anything and everything you want. We know that Vince has his own ideas and change scripts and whatever. So a large part of being in creative is you get told, I want to do this. I want us to do this. Get us there. So if you was to work in creative, Vince could come to you and say, I want Shelton to face Roman. Get me there. Make it happen. And then that would be your job. Julius is in the ring as Brutus is planted. Big shots coming in here by Julius. Big right hands. Knee to the midsection. Dyad in there working together. We got Ivy Nile on the outside. Oh my God, look at that by Julius, man. That is, he just suplexed two guys and he looked like he deadlifted them as well. Ava on the edge of the ring. Causing a distraction. Where's Ivy Nile? Why is Ivy Nile not flipping dealing with this? Is that Gacy? I've only just seen that Gacy's wearing... He's got a sick haircut and he's got sick glasses as well. Gacy looks really good. Ivy Nile has come round. Oh, no. So Ivy just gets knocked down by one of the dyads. That's caused a distraction. Gallus in the ring. Against the ropes. Gallus are going to see this one home, I think. Gallus in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Gallus retain. Gallus retain, but it's thanks to a lot of outside distractions. So Ivy Nile came round. I mean, it was, I don't know what his name is now, to be honest. It was James Drake, whatever he goes by now. So he knocks into Ivy Nile. Why is Ava by Ivy? Ava's over by Ivy. Has she like legit got injured or something? Yeah, so he knocks into her. She goes down. Oh, it's a bit weird, isn't it? Look, Ava's just like all over Ivy. Someone get her off of her. Ugh. Ava's like all over. She's like holding her like a child. Oh. I think Drake goes by Jagger Reed. Thank you. Jagger Reed. So Gallus have retained. So Ivy was down by Jagger Reed. That caused the distraction. Gallus pick up the win. Is Dijak arriving? Dijak getting inside as Apollo. Why don't you worry about yourself and stay out of my way? The draft's coming up. Apollo wants to show up and show out. Let's go tonight. That's interesting. No point did my brain consider Apollo. At no point did my brain go, maybe they bring Apollo back. Hey, maybe they bring back Jinder and Indashir. I mean, I don't know that Jinder's down there for the long term. I really don't know. And he could come back with Indashir. That could be fun. We've got a faction thing going on the main roster at the moment, don't we? With Bloodline and the LWO and the other ones. So, like, you could bring Indashir down up from NXT. The tweet was, Uncle Howdy and Lily have been added to 2K23 on the latest patch update. Can be used for my faction on a future update. Thank you, James. I don't have that game. And if I did, I wouldn't be playing as Uncle Howdy. Does that mean you can play as Uncle Howdy, or does it just mean... So he can be used for my faction, so you can play as him? Yeah, I wouldn't use Uncle Howdy. I still can't figure out what Uncle Howdy is. Like, last time we saw him, he got beat up by Bobby Lashley. I was talking yesterday about how I wish Valhalla hadn't been chucked into a barricade. I very much also wish that Bobby Lashley hadn't beaten up Uncle Howdy. I kind of feel like he should be a bit of a higher power type situation. Definitely. I mean, there was people making fun of his elbow that missed LA Knight by a mile at the Royal Rumble. So, I mean, that wasn't a good look. The attack on Bobby Lashley, I don't think was a good look. The changing of masks and not explaining why they've changed, I don't think that was a good look. I just think we've dropped the ball quite a few times with Uncle Howdy already. So, hopefully the character can be saved. Because I don't think we've done anything too drastically wrong. I don't think like we've done anything that's irreparable. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I wouldn't be reaching for Uncle Howdy. Is Uncle Howdy actually an uncle? Yeah. To his nephew and niece. I was going to make a joke, but I can't think of one. I was going to make a joke like, you've got Uncle Howdy. You could have his nephew. Hello. I don't know where I was going with that. I abandoned it. Doesn't count. I abandoned it. Days, we need Roman versus Dominic. Get rid of Howdy and redo The Fiend. Stu said, so you're saying, Days, it doesn't look good? What, Uncle Howdy? Doesn't look good. I think Howdy looks okay. I don't think it looks as good as The Fiend did. I think there's also
I'm sorry to say, right, but I will say, when his entrance Titantron is on, I seem to remember there's like a smiling face of him. Like, it's like the cutest Tinder profile picture I've ever seen of Uncle Howdy. And it just looks, wrong? It just looks weird, but not weird in a spooky way. Weird in a, why the hell have you got him, like an outtake? He might as well be doing that. Like, on his Titantron. Do you know what I mean? If he was doing these kind of poses, it would look weird, but not in a good way. I'm waiting for the Uncle Howdy calendar to come out. Feeling cute. So, there's definitely a few things I would change for Uncle Howdy when he comes back, to be honest. Oh, that's a nice studio. Nathan Fraser in a new studio. Looks good. Hard-hitting home truths. Let's learn. He suffered an injury. So he said, since I returned, it's not been going very well. Okay. This place is cutthroat. There's studs and studettes. If you fail for 3 seconds against a world-class athlete, it's okay. Has he got anything in that cup? I can never be down or depressed if I never slow down. I don't mind this at all. He's talking about how a plane moves fast, and it moves so fast it hasn't got time or the ability to fall. Time to turn this ship around. I thought it was a plane. Now it's a ship. Yeah, I don't mind. That's all right. This is what NXT, I think, does well that the main roster doesn't, is those kind of character pieces. We don't really see that on Raw or SmackDown. Lots of vehicles being mentioned by Nathan Fraser. Time to turn this ship around. Here is Noam Dar. Let's go. The NXT Heritage Cup. I like Noam Dar. I do like the talk show news anchor style promo, said Vim. Completely missed the winner of the first match. It was Gallus. Hey. This has got a very strong NXT UK feel to it, hasn't it? Gallus win the first match. Now we're watching Noam Dar. We just had Nathan Fraser. So I feel like I'm watching NXT UK. Which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I think it just shows the impact that show has had by, discovering this talent. I mean, and talent was found. You've got obviously Tyler Bate, Pete Dunne coming through there, Noam Dar, Stevie Turner, who we've seen a little bit of, Alba Fire, Isla Dawn, Gallus, Gunther. I mean, the biggest success story, Gunther coming through. Ilya Dragunov's got a bright future. So, there's been no news on NXT Europe.
But I'm hoping there's going to be some sort of announcement. 'Cause I honestly, when that show starts, sign me up. I'm interested. Elbows raining down by Noam Dar. Time to turn this ship around, mateys. Ahoy, said Kappa. Heritage Cup looks great, but carrying it around all the time is just... Damn. Well, listen. Good for the guns, innit? Not the tag team. Shots coming in. So, kicks there by Noam. Miles goes down onto his knees. Kick coming in. UFC Saturday night ratings, ESPN have started to come out. Holloway Allen was watched by 1.2 million. UFC averages over 1 million, but Raw edges out with 500,000 extra viewers. That's interesting. Wow, God, that's really interesting. I would have said that it was way higher than that. I would have said it was way higher. Just based on the amount of people that join us. So, for example, our Raw streams get about, 10,000 people that will join us for our Raw stream. Holloway Allen, I think, did 16,000. I mean, a good chunk more. And we're not a UFC channel. Right? So, that's just something we do on a Saturday. So the idea that we're here all the time doing WWE and that gets 10,000 views. I think last night's SmackDown did 12. And UFC for us performs better. Yet on ESPN they only do 1 point some million. Very surprised at that. Noam Dar's picked up the win here. I don't think that's going to be a great surprise. So, Noam Dar with a couple of back elbows. Vicious knee strike. Really nasty. And then, like a Judas effect, spinning back elbow. He had Miles down. And, gets the pin. He then stands up with the Heritage Cup. Right, now we're just having a little look at Roxanne. There we start. You'll learn that character triumphs over talent every single time. Tonight, Zoe Stark, I shut you up. Boom. Blair Davenport, Charlie Dempsey, Oro Mensah, Rhea Ripley, Ludwig Kaiser, Giovanni Vinci, Piper Niven, Aaliyah James, all former NXT superstar. I don't know Aaliyah James. Do I know Aaliyah James? Don't know Aaliyah James. Yeah, the talent that's come out of there is amazing. Giovanni Vinci. I don't know if you saw. I saw a video of Samantha Irvin doing her Imperium announcing, and the camera's on her. She sat there and everything, and like she looks, and someone gives her the nod, and she goes straight into it, and you actually see her like Giovanni Vinci, and she's like, and the way that she goes Gunter, she's like Gunter. Like, I love her, man. I think she's so good. I know not everyone's on board with her. I've heard people like, why does she like ham it up like that? But I don't see why not. I mean, like that's what the announcers do. Do you know what I mean? I think with like Aubrey, as a ref, it's not really the done thing for refs, right? Refs in the background, let the superstars shine, right? It's not about like taking the spotlight away from them. In fact, a good ref you really shouldn't notice at all, unless they're obviously getting knocked down and they're part of the story. But yeah, Aubrey doing all of her mannerisms and everything, I've never been a fan of that. But I think when it comes to ring announcing, and you think about Bruce Buffer, Michael Buffer, you think about like some of those boxing announcers, maybe it's not something that we've seen a load of in wrestling. But I mean, even like Howard Finkel used to, give it some gusto. When it comes to like announcing, when would you ever be like, come into the ring Intercontinental Champion Gunter with Giovanni Vinci? Like, you just wouldn't announce it that way, would you? We've never announced it that way. It's always had a little summit to it. But I think what she does is maybe goes a bit too far for some. I can understand that, but I like it. I like it. Giovanni Vinci. Cracks me up. What if Brock just wants to get Cody's anger more exposure? I feel like there will be 2 matches. First match, Brock wins. Second match, Cody wins. At SummerSlam 2023, Brock will help Cody win the titles against Roman. Well, I don't want Cody to win thanks to someone else. What I would say is he could even the score. I have no problem with Brock coming down, laying out the Usos, laying out Paul Heyman, laying out Solo Sikoa. But I don't want him to come out and interfere with Roman. I don't want it to be a case that Cody's won the title because Brock came down and knocked out Roman. Because then all of a sudden it's like, did Cody... Whoever beats Roman is going to get a big push and he's going to be the guy because they finally did it. And I think if the person that finally does it only did it because of Roman being wiped out by Brock or whatever, I don't know. I think that kind of diminishes the achievement a little. But as I said, I've no issue with them coming down, dealing with Solo, dealing with the Usos, even in the scores. I think that would be cool. I agree as well. I could see them doing a couple of matches. I don't know. I think we might be looking at Backlash and Night of Champions. We were just talking about this on the Wrestling Escape Pod, actually. Because I was under the impression it might only be a one-off match. But now that we know that, or now that I know that Night of Champions is the next show, and that's at Saudi, and Brock's sure to be there, and it's a few weeks after Backlash, does make me think that we could see 2 matches out of this. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Please, Kiana. His fake crying is not great. So Josh wants help from Kiana to see Brooks. Has she changed him? He's in a shirt. What the flip? Look at him. He's in a shirt. He's got his hair back. He's got some glasses on. Come back to the bar. Have a cold one. You should have shaved that moustache, I think. Should have got rid of the moustache. Kiana treats me like a man. This has took quite a turn. I wasn't expecting Briggs and Jensen to split up. I'm making a decision for you to leave. Oh, she's come in. She's wormed her way in. She's split up this tag team. Brooks Jensen. Here's Odyssey Jones. It's unbelievable. Daze, are you gonna see Austin versus Gibb and Ryan versus Davis and UFC? I saw a little bit of WWE. I'm seeing New Jersey Devils and Yankees. Bye. I'm seeing Ryan and Davis. I don't know when Austin versus Gibb is. So it's going to be Tank Davis against Garcia this weekend. Ron Breaker attacks Odyssey Jones. So Braun just speared Odyssey. So Odyssey came down. He was in the ring. Does that hurt? Does that hurt? So boos for Braun. I told these fat rednecks they'd see a different side of me now. Everyone gets a trophy nowadays. So Odyssey's walking up. Thanks, Odyssey. Bye, mate. Bye. Thanks for coming, buds. Crowd are booing Braun Breaker. Braun as a heel is so much better. Braun is Goldberg 2.0, said JoJo. Keep Andre Chase's name out of your damn mouth. Here is Duke Hudson. Duke Hudson with his trophy. Duke. Keep Andre Chase's name out your damn mouth. Last week, you ruined my MVP ceremony. You tore up the Chase U flag. Okay, so Duke Hudson's asking, why did you do that? Loser chance. Loser. So Duke's challenged Braun to a match. Clown Show is an awesome comedian. I really like Duke Hudson, but he's going to get buried here, said Chris. Braun Breaker should be a mainstream event. Braun thought I was done talking, says Duke. No. No. Duke Hudson's still going. MVP. It's a battle of the giants. the legend, the beacon of hope. He's firing himself up here. Hang on, so he's taking on Andre Chase? So Duke Hudson's just arranged a match against Andre Chase. He's just done Andre Chase dirty there. So Duke Hudson challenges Braun to a match with Andre Chase. There's a lovely dynamic here with Duke Hudson where he is a face, but he's also like acting a bit heelish in the sense of he grabbed his trophy first and he cared about the trophy more than he did about the students. Here he's coming out, giving it the big I am, but makes a match against Andre Chase, not himself. So there's lovely little undertones there, isn't there, with like Duke Hudson at the moment. Braun looking like Oompa Loompa with the orange tint. Braun Breaker should be called Meatheads. Thought he was going up against Duke. We all did, Jojo. We all did. Did you see the video of Ospreay saying his body is slowing down? He's lost a lot of feeling and damaged nerves, and that he's changed his style more slower. No, that's obviously a real shame. Young as well, isn't he? But okay. This big Instagram famous ass. Has she got a big famous Instagram ass? I don't know. Here's Roxanne Perez, the prodigy. Roxanne Perez. She's refocused and she's ready to fight. Gigi is worth looking at. I love Braun Breaker. He's Jojo. It's Anna. I did it. Anna, shout out to you. Bro, this match is not what I want. It's skippable, says Real. Well, I don't think it'll be around too long. Roxanne Perez against Zoe Stark. I wonder who will win, though. Kind of feel like they could both do with a win. I mean, in a way, Roxanne's just had her title reign, so she could take the L here and give Zoe a bit of a push. But they're probably. I feel like there's a great chance Zoe's going to go to the main roster, so they might have Zoe put over Perez, knowing that Zoe ain't going to be around in NXT in a few weeks anyway. Don't know. Interesting dynamic. I'm interested to see who they give the dub to. I've seen many simps off Gigi's booty, said Alex. News to me, Daze. I will have to do more research into Instagram famous worthy buttocks. Well, if you do that, you'll certainly be seeing a different side of me. That's all I can say. Bryson said Tiffany will be the next NXT Women's Champion. TJ said, I'm not surprised about Ospreay. If he's not careful, he might end up like the Dynamite Kids. John said, I need an excuse to use Instagram. Lol. James said, if you watch the Dusty Rhodes biography, it's definitely worth it. I saw your tweet, actually, Bud, saying that you really enjoyed it. I haven't seen it yet. I 100% will. It will be watched. I don't know when. As soon as I watch Volta against Cara Noir, then I will move on to the Dusty Rhodes biography. But I do genuinely really want to watch it. Looks good. I saw a little clip of Cody talking about how Dusty took loads of losses against Ric Flair, but they weren't losses. It was the story. It was all about the chase, not the game show. But and then I've seen a lot of people going, this is exactly what they're doing now, and blah blah blah. Which I agree, it is what they're doing now. The money is in the chase, but still didn't change the fact that I really thought they were going to put the belt on him at WrestleMania. But I don't disagree that there is money in the chase. The Iron Sheik bio was also good. I tell you what, I love the fact they're doing bios of people that aren't Stone Cold, Rock, John Cena, Triple H, Mankind. I feel like we're getting to a level that's maybe just a little bit below that. Or not, below's not really very fair, but do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like, what are the names that are going to get the most attention, right? If you're making a biography series and you're like, right, we're going to make biographies. Who should we make biographies? You're going to do Rock, Stone Cold, John Cena, Undertaker, right? These are the names you're going to do, right? At what point do you get to Iron Sheik? Do you reckon? At what point do you get to him? I would have to think, if you wrote a list down, he's on it, but he's not in the top 10. Probably not in the top 20. Maybe not in the top 30. I don't know, but my point is, it's a bit down. I love that. Let's go. Let's go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going down. Let's do Greg the Hammer Valentine. Like, that could be fascinating. Let's do Pat Patterson. Let's do Bruno. I mean, I don't even need to go really down. Where's the Bruno biography? Have they done Bruno? The longest reigning champ they've ever had. How about Buddy Rogers, the first champ they ever had? How about Superstar Billy Graham? How about Jesse the Body Ventura? Let's go. Let's go. So yeah, love some of the names they're doing now. We got Pretty Deadly. Talking about being kidnapped. So, anything goes. Next week, they'll be sleeping with the fishes. So, match next week against Tony and Stax. They'll be sleeping with the fishes. Right, here's Zoe Stark. Maybe they asked, but those people and their families declined. Maybe. I don't think they would. I don't know why you would decline. I don't know why you would decline. Can we do a documentary talking about your career? Put it on like a big channel so that loads of people will see it. No. It'll be a good boost to your brand. You might sell some merch on WWE. No. Okay, thank you. Guess we'll do the Iron Sheik then. It was very good. It took us back to good moments and memories with Dustin, said Bryson. Shout out to Rocket Man. Rocket Man. Shout out to Rocket Man. Is there life on Mars? We'll never know. Although we might know, because I did watch a program. Apparently there is a rover up there looking at the moment, so we might find out. Looking for a arm drag I like that from Roxanne. She couldn't get the arm drag on the one side, so she switched it and did the other side, which was nice. Roxanne picking up Zoe, working on the arm. Gonna work again on the arm, goods. And again, oh my God, man, she's gonna rip that arm out of the shoulder. Up in the air. Keeping a headlock on at the moment. So Roxanne in control against Zoe. Headlock takeover there by Roxanne. Zoe, though, trapping the head of Roxanne. This could be it. Do you know what? Damn, this could be a really good match, you know. Roxanne escapes out of it, which is really cool. Jumps on top of Zoe, keeping her grounded at the moment. Roxanne and Zoe getting up to their feet. Shot to the midsection there by Zoe. She grabs the leg of Roxanne. Roxanne goes over the top. No joy as Zoe goes to try and stomp roll up by Roxanne. One. Just a one. Zoe getting back up to her feet. Over against the ropes. Roxanne rolls back. As Zoe holds on. Shoulder tackle. Roxanne goes down. Zoe against the ropes. Over the top. Lands on her feet. Oh, into a headlock again. Roxanne grabbing a hold of the heads. Over in the corner. Up. Take over. Gets Zoe down. Keeping a hold of that headlock at the moment. Back up to their feet. Roxanne against the ropes. Shoulder tackle. Can't take Zoe down. Zoe standing. Roxanne against the ropes. Another shoulder tackle. Roxanne trying to go. It's nice. Some of the innovation there. I mean, she was trying to get her over. She couldn't. She ended up shifting her body weight to the side and kind of going around the side. Some of the stuff from Roxanne is good. Good matchup so far between these two, says Kappa. I'd love to see an Alundra Blaze Ball Nakano, but oh God, that'd be so good. That'd be good. I think, yeah, that'd be good. Maybe you'd have to just do it as like that era. Because the women's division wasn't very big during the kind of 94 time. I mean, I remember Alundra having to face, I think it was Lalani Kai at WrestleMania 10. And Zoe Stark goes out the ring. Lalani Kai had been around, like, I think she had featured at WrestleMania 1. And there she was 10 years later in the ring with Alundra Blaze. And it's not like she'd been around all the time. They'd have to bring her back, so there just wasn't anyone to face. The women's division was largely just Alundra Blaze. And then they just had to keep bringing in women to face her. So, like, you had Lalani Kai. Then they got a hold of Bull Nakano. Then once Bull Nakano was done, I believe it was Bertha Faye that we moved on to. I don't know who it was after that, to be honest. I think Aja Kong was... Aja Kong... They were going to do Alundra versus Aja Kong as a feuds, but unfortunately the women's division got disbanded before they could do that. I believe there is a match at Survivor Series where it's like Aja Kong and a few women. Let's have a look, actually. We're really... going back into the memory banks. Survivor Series 94? Maybe. Have a little look. No, is it 95? Yeah. Survivor Series 95. So here we had Bertha Faye, Aja Kong, Tomoko Watanabe, Lioness Asuka, I believe it was pronounced, not Asuka. Lioness Asuka. And like some of the names in this is just amazing. Like, honestly, that is such a match that's worth watching, because if you are aware of like some of the names from the Japanese women around that time. Like they just brought these women over to compete in this match. And I think the plan was that they were going to move ahead with Alundra Blaze and Aja Kong, but they didn't do it as a result of the division being disbanded. So that's what we missed out on. But yeah, God, could you imagine if business had been better and we didn't have to lose the women's division? 'Cause, I mean, that's mental, isn't it? It is mental that WWE, fairly recently, we're talking 1995, 96, they were struggling so much financially that they had to make budget cuts. Surprise, surprise. What do WWE love doing? Cutting the budget. So they had to make budget cuts. And they lost their women's division. Their women's division was like, bye. Could you imagine that now? We've got to make budget cuts. So we've got to lose all the women. That's what they did in like 95, 96. Get rid of the women's division. It's just that the women's division then was literally a handful of women. Like it was basically Alundra Blaze. Very different time. But could you imagine if we didn't and it stayed and we could, just get through to the Attitude Era? What kind of matches we might have seen? Could have been cool. That's what I would do the documentary on. I agree. That time from like them deciding to restart the women's division with Alundra and then go through the story of like the matches that she has, Bertha Bull, gonna face Aja Kong, blah blah blah, and then like some details we don't know. That'd be sick. That'd be really sick, really cool. WWE never knew how to use international talent, said Inside Out and Again. Moolah was the longest reigning champ. She was. It doesn't really... It's such a shame that record is recognized, to be honest, because it's not true. I mean, that belt starts as an NWA women's title, and then they bring it into WWE. It's not a belt that started in WWE and then was defended in WWE on like a regular basis. Like, to compare the SmackDown and Raw women's titles to the Moolah title it's not really a fair comparison. Because Moolah was also booking the division as well, to be honest. She was responsible. If you wanted a female wrestler, you would largely go to... There was other places, but Moolah was the one that was controlling most of the talent. So she was the one you would speak to. She's the one that would put the matches on. She left herself as champion for 20 odd years. Do you know what I mean? To compare that to what Charlotte's doing or whatever now, Rhea and Bianca couldn't be more different. So like the fact that record is recognized, I think it's a bit of a shame. So how's that ever going to be beaten? It's 20 odd years. Perez comes crashing down on top of Zoe and wailing away on Zoe. Duck underneath by Perez. Drop kick. Zoe goes through the ropes to the outside. And against the ropes goes Roxy. Suicide dive into Zoe. Zoe goes down. So the match opening out a little bit. We've started with the... I feel like these two have come out and they really want to put on like a decent showing. Like they've really done like the groundwork. They've really done the headlocks, the wearing down, the building the match up. One, start roll through. Ooh, shoulder up there by Roxanne. Roxanne goes against the ropes. Knee strike to Zoe. Nice. Snapmare. And into a cover to kick out. So tonight we've also got Carmelo on the Grayson Waller effects. In the corner is Zoe. We've got Roxanne backing up, charging over. We are at the halfway point. We'll wait for this match to finish, and then we'll do the halftime scores as Zoe moves out the way. She grabs the hair of Roxanne. Springboard. Oh, Roxanne just stepped out the way. Kick to the midsection. Pop Rocks. Looking for Pop Rocks, but can't get it. Kick coming in German. Ooh, she like over-rotated her. Very reminiscent of Charlotte and Rhea at WrestleMania, where she seems to go for a German, but over-rotation by Roxanne. Picking up Roxanne. Oh my God, that was cool. That was so slick by Roxanne. Pop Rocks connects. Pop Rocks connects. 2, 3, and she gets her. So Roxanne wins. So Roxanne gets the win over Zoe. There's some moments. Match is pretty good. There's some moments in that I really like. I just want to look at the replay of this one. So she's going for like a pump handle. Oh God, I love that. That is so cool. So she grabs her in a pump handle, picks her up, gets her into like a tombstone position. But as she's in motion, she doesn't ever get chance. Zoe, this is. Zoe's got Roxanne. Pump handle. Picking her up. Tombstone position. But then she just drops down. Like she uses the momentum to like just go down in between her legs to carry the action on. And it's all really smooth. It's like slips through her hands, goes down. It's like it's really smooth. It looks really good. She can do some stuff, Roxanne. I like her, but I do just think she's still really young. Indy's come down. Indy is in the ring. I want to be a fighting champion, says Indy. You and I both know. Spring Breakin, you are on. Indy Hartwell defending against Roxanne Perez next week. Here's Tiffany. Another woman getting a title match instead of me. So Tiffany's come out. Tiffany says, why don't you just call your title reign what it is? Pure luck. So Tiffany is out here. Roxanne's like, you're calling me beatable, but you couldn't beat me in the breakout tournament. Tiffany's like, that is so 2022. That's a good answer. So it's going to be a triple threat. Don't like triple threats. Rather that was just one-on-one, but how's that? I mean, how's that fair to Roxanne, by the way? So Roxanne's never lost that title. The champ's just come out and said, I want to be a fighting champ. You deserve a chance to try and win this back. And now all of a sudden it's a triple threat. Oh, well, it is what it is. Tiffany has weaseled her way into that match. Okay, we got Grayson. Mello has got what I want, says Grayson. Tell you what, they're building Spring Breakin big though, aren't they? I mean, there's some big matches lined up for next week. Right, let's do halftime scores. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. That was interesting. So, Robert Stone said that he was done with Von. Von, in a very wooden way, said, I'm ready to open up. And he was like, my name is Von. I've always dreamed of being in the WWE. My dad was a Beverly brother. Kind of fun that he threw that out there. Certainly seemed to win Robert Stone over. Right, Real said 4. Steven said 8. Porky Pig said 7.25. Inside Out and Again said 6.5. Kappa said, I figured. David said, I'm saying 6 out of 10. Hayden said halftime scores. Jaden said 6. Loopy Girl said 6.5. John said 7. Kappa said it's 7 so far. Real said, come and save me, Gigi. Tim, the tribal chief, is here. Is that our new nickname for Gigi? 7.25 said Porky Pig. 7.5 said Rare Breeds. 10 out of 10 said Justin. I got in late, but I saw Indy. Bryson with an 8. Chill Dude said it feels like a lot of write-offs for the draft next week, doesn't it? I'm very interested to see what we're going to do with it. Yeah, very interested. Feels... Oh, I read that. Draco said 7. Jack said 8.1. Outlaw Angel said 5.5. WWE AEW fan said D+. Harry said 7.5. Trade Gaming said 5.75. Triton Cascade said 7.5. It's a good show so far. Terry said 7. Hagen Daz said 6.5. Watson says Derek out of 10, which will make a lot of sense if you watch the web. That is... I genuinely believe that's one of the funnest videos I've ever been a part of. I include the toy hunts and everything in that. I was actually laughing out loud as I was editing that video. So, yeah, I hope people enjoyed it. Kieran said 7. Serious Gaming said 6. Porky said, did you ever had muscles before retiring? Did I have muscles before I retired wrestling? I was jacked. I was absolutely jacked. A lot of people say that Bobby Lashley has based himself off of my wrestling career. So, but you know, there comes a point where the road just gets too much. The injuries get too much and just can't carry on, you know. I think you know in your heart of hearts when you can't compete at that same level that you once could. And for me, it was either perfection or I wasn't doing it. And I was never able to reach perfection, so that's why I'm not doing it. So, Daze look like Arnold's. Absolutely. Daze won the strongest man a few times. Yep. Big Bibby Bob. That's right. That used to be my nickname. Any update on Sunny? I don't know, actually. I haven't seen anything on Sunny, to be honest. I was going to ask that myself. Maybe doing it in a public space like this isn't the best idea. I don't know. I mean, she's well. I believe she's well. But I've not heard anything. Daze tore both his pecs out and ACL. I got rid of them, to be honest. Them, a lot of people are too afraid to say this, but they're more trouble than they're worth. I mean, I don't understand why no one is having these conversations. Shane McMahon got in the ring at WrestleMania, tore his quads. Get rid of the quad. I mean, when you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Cody Rhodes tore his pectoral muscle, kept him out for like, what, 6-7 months? Get rid of it. Just get rid of it. You can't tear it if you don't have it. Same with the quads and anything else that might go. And that is exactly what I have done. I have slowly but surely, and I think you can all see this and agree, I have slowly but surely got rid of my muscles on purpose. So, because I don't want any injuries that's going to prevent me from streaming. Imagine if I was like jacked and I tore some whilst I was streaming. Might not be able to stream. I put this community first. That's what I do all the time. So that's my gift to you, basically. So here's Axiom. Is he responding to scripts? Because that's NXT's gift to us, isn't it? You disguise your voice and you speak in riddles. Why? To intimidate. No, it's because he's got no other redeeming features. When we meet, I will expose you. I will be done with you. I am Axiom. There we go. Message sent. Here's Danny Palmer with Sol Ruka. Tank Ledger. Woo! Tank. So proud of my buddy Tank now. It's my turn. Grateful to have amazing people in my corner. This is one of the most boring TikToks I've ever seen in my life. Literally nothing's happening right now. Yeah, you... Welcome to the generation of Jades. Alfie said, I want to take this moment to say I'm hungry. I'm hungry as well, but I had a rubbish dinner today. It upset me. You know when you have a bad dinner and it upsets you? That's what I had. It's like a sausage casserole thing, which is rubbish anyway. But it's rubbish. I need some food. I might. I mean, I'll do my video after my 1-minute review. Has Gigi been in the ring all that time? I feel like Gigi's been in the ring for about a year. Oh, poor Gigi, man. No wonder she's sat down in the corner. I'm amazed she's not asleep. When did she come out to the ring? I swear it was forever ago. I had pretzel crust. Oh. They said she had a boring TikTok. It was boring. TikTok's boring. I had a great one for once, said Alfie. What did you have, Alfie? What did you have? Order a pizza. It's 2:15 in the morning on a Tuesday. Wednesday, early hours of Wednesday morning it is here. I don't think anywhere will be open. Tell you what, guys, I can see beans on toast on my horizon. I can see a beans. Now, in order to do it, I'm going to have to do my 1-minute review of NXT first. Because I am committed to those. And then I'm going to I'm going to celebrate by, I think, doing myself a beans on toast. Excited, baby! Chicken burgers. Oh, man, that sounds nice. Sonny's going to return early or late May. That's cool. Let's go. No one noticed the guy taking chops in the ring behind that TikTok. I switched off, mate, honestly. That TikTok bored me so much. I started thinking of beans on toast. I was like, let's go. Let's go. Cora is in control against Gigi. Sophia, shout out to you. Have you been collecting elites or basics? Don't you want to start getting AEW unrivaled? Should AEW figures start calling AEW Elite Series instead? Sophia, shout out to you. Have I been getting elites and basics recently? I have not. Since the lockdowns, I have really just fallen out. Still love looking at the new figures. Still appreciate the figures. Still figures I absolutely want. But with lockdowns and everything, I was not doing toy hunts. And if I don't do toy hunts, I don't get figures. So I just haven't been getting figures, to be honest. Knee strike. Almost a knee strike there by Cora, but no joy. So, no, I haven't. Oh, hello. Oh, JC arrives. JC arrives. She tries to kick Gigi in the head. JC gets dragged in the ring. They go through the rope. So, JC and Gigi are brawling on the outsides. Into the ring steps goes JC. Little kicks coming in there by Gigi. Over the cut. Bucks down. Bucks down. Bucks down. Gigi throws JC into Booker. Booker's down. He's probably not going to appreciate that. Jade plants Gigi. Booker's still down. Booker. He took one for the team. Come on, Booker. Flipping former world champion. You're not that feeble that you can't get back up. Still down on the ground. Booker down! Booker down! Hall of Famer down! Finally, Booker, shut up. We need a Booker update. We need a Booker update. So, Cora beats Gigi. Thanks to JC. Right, here's Lyra Valkyria. Next week, is it? Yeah. God, next week's stacked. How long is spring breaking next week? So, Lyra against Cora. Are you okay? No. Eddie Thorpe. Queen Shamal is angry because a two-time Hall of Famer. It's not how you should treat a two-time Hall of Famer. Gigi's gonna get us talking to. She's going to feel the Harlem heat. Is Damon Kemp. What you got, Damon? Damon said he was impressed with what he saw. Teasing a little something then. So Eddie Thorpe and are you all right? Do we need to get medical? It's like Booker 70 now or something. Someone got knocked into him. He fell over in his chair. God, grow a pair. Here's Dijak. Gigi getting heat from Mandy leaving. Next week is 4 hours, said Tony. There's loads of matches, isn't there? Stacked. Okay, coming up next, Dijak versus Apollo. Bank. Who's Eddie Thorpe? He's not been around much, to be honest. That was fun. Booker down. Jack should be ready for the main roster. Think he gets drafted, says Heavy Chevy. Booker T down. Can you dig it, sucker? He's gone to the medical facility. He's just being moody on commentary now. Do you need a doctor? No. Is everything all right? No. All right, can't. I mean, these things do happen, you know. It's bad when Daze is the one that says grow a pair, said Noah. Very true. Very true. Pot calling the kettle black. Do you think Apollo will stay in NXT? Well, I think so, just because I don't think we've really done anything with him. I mean, yes, we've moved away from the Nigerian gimmick, but have we done much? Have we achieved anything? Has he got any kind of momentum? Is there anything we can do with him on the main roster that's going to be good? Because his matches are so-so. His promos are so-so. But no, man. I just... When he was on the indie scene, he was Uha Nation, which I always thought was a great name. Uha Nation. And there was a bit of a buzz around him. I just sort of feel like if you gave him like a name similar to that, and you gave him like a big entrance and just really made him feel like a big star. Whereas now, like, they've gone the other way. They've made him super down to earth. Super down to earth. He's helping up cameramen and all this kind of stuff. I'd be tempted to go like the other direction. I mean, what they were doing with the Nigerian thing, no. But I like them going that big. You know, they gave him a gimmick and they gave him something to get his teeth into. It was just an awful gimmick. But I would do something along those lines in the sense of give him a gimmick, not that gimmick. But as I said, maybe lean into like the Uhan Nation thing and I don't know, give him a couple of people. Have him be like a big leader of a faction, maybe. It's tricky. I just find him dull. He's just dull. I mean, really, you've got to give him a gimmick to make up for the fact that I can't find a personality. So that's harsh, but listen, sometimes you have to be harsh in order to help people get to where you want them to get to. And I just don't see what's engaging about him. So let's be harsh so that we can then say, we think you need a gimmick. And then, boom, let's go. Because I hope it works. I want him to succeed. And Apollo is so interesting because I can honestly say I don't think it's ever worked. I don't think I can think of a single point in his career where I've been like, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is working. I don't think I've ever felt that way about Apollo. I've always been waiting for them to find the gimmick. So, I don't know. For me, I think if he does go up, I think he drowns. Right, we've got Kiana and Brooks in a bar. We're not drinking. You meant it. You've been holding me back? I'm the star of this team? If you want to run around with your girlfriend that's been cheating on you, then go ahead. Whoa, that's sick. That's sick. Mixed tag match. Bit strange, isn't it? Bit weird. These two tag teams splitting up, now they're going up against each other. Oh, how are you, Buck? Are you all right, Buck? You all right, mate? Be careful round. He's made of glass. Apollo! G Fuel is worse than Prime. I'm not planning on keeping a fake queen, said Jax. Do you think McIntyre resigns when his contract expires in July? Is it July? I heard it was 2024. I heard he had re-signed, and it was his contract was 2024. What's the word on the street? Drew McIntyre contract. La 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 la. Cultaholic. Further reports suggest two sides are far from agreeing on a new deal, prompting fears that McIntyre could leave. Later revealed McIntyre was kept off due to health reasons. A report from Fightful has shed light. McIntyre is believed to have 9 months left, meaning that his deal will run out in January 2024. So 2024. So, I mean, it's April. Is he going to stay off TV till 2024? I think what you're seeing at the moment is... I really take anything that happens on social media with a big grain of salt. Big grain of salt. Like, I just really don't buy it. I tend to approach it with a I don't believe this until it's proven true mentality. And that served me very well. So I think that we could see a fed up Drew. Maybe a Drew that's going to turn into... Could you imagine a heel Drew, actually? I think he's been face, hasn't he, since he came back on the main roster? Has he been a heel on the main roster? Heel Drew could be very interesting, actually. Could be interesting. I think he'll resign. Where's he going to go? AEW. And 2024. Cruz showed some personality as the Nigerian royalty gimmick, which was inspired by UFC's Kamaru Usman. Since then, Cruz is back to his normal personality. But that's my point. I think he doesn't really have much of a personality. And so you have to give him one. So when they gave him the Nigerian gimmick, that sort of made up for the fact that he didn't really have much in the way of like natural charisma. And I think if you want to get him somewhere, you've got to do that. So I wasn't a fan of the Nigerian thing. And so I would definitely look to give him another something else for him to get his teeth into. I just don't think we've found it yet for him, to be honest. Suplex is there by Apollo. Drew will get lost in a shuffle at AEW. Drew was heel with Dolph. Oh, that's when is that how he first arrived? No, I don't even remember that. I remember him arriving with Dolph, but I can't remember like when we turned him. In my mind, I would have said that he'd been face all throughout, to be honest. But I do remember that now with him coming up, and I think they had them together for a little while. I like the idea of him being heel. I think we could be looking at Cody winning the title. And then there's a few people around as well that could be like further along than what he is. So I don't know when he's going to get back to the belt. Turning him heel would mean that he could work a program with Cody. And I don't know. Yeah, I definitely think there's maybe more options for him as a heel. It's just something I hadn't considered. If Drew went to AEW, then MJF needs to lose to him. Drew came back as a heel, Dogs of War, and feuded with the Shields. Drew and Corbin was a terrible duo, said Tim. Drew turned face when he won the Rumble. Seth could win Money in the Bank. I don't think that's true, actually. I don't think it's true he turned face when he won the Rumble, because I seem to remember him being face before that. Because I know that I was quite critical of him winning the Rumble, because I never felt that he had done a great deal. But in the build-up to the Rumble, they'd given him a few wins. And I remember at the time people saying, nah, he has had some wins. And it's like, yeah, but I mean, there was just nothing on SmackDown or whatever. Like there was, I distinctly remember him winning the Rumble in 2020 and it just being like, people were excited for him. He went in as a favorite, but like he hadn't, there wasn't much in the way of momentum. There wasn't much like you could hang your hat on to say, yeah, look, they've really built him up. He's got loads of momentum. So I think that they'd done it before the Rumble, and I think they'd given him some wins going into it, but they weren't like big pay-per-view things. Drew and Shane to reform their alliance. Carmen said, this past Saturday, April 15th, I went to VF Dub. I have been beside AR Dub Pro and Fire Pro. Carmen, live shout out to you. If Drew goes to AEW, I don't think he will. Who do you want him to feud with? I don't think he'll go. Chill said, what if Drew pushes Cody off a ladder to win Money in the Bank? Now we're talking. That makes more sense to me. Because I thought he stood a great chance of winning at Clash at the Castle, because at WrestleMania 36, when he competed for the title, he won it in front of no crowd. And then his title reign happened in front of no crowd. And so, you know, he did that moment at WrestleMania, is like, I want to thank you, looking down the camera. You know, it's a big moment, like he'd finally done it. But it was in front of no people. So I could definitely see it being a case that he does turn heel. He could win Money in the Bank. And then, you know, you've got a big heel Drew McIntyre with a briefcase who could cash in and get another little run. Yeah, don't mind that. I don't know that's quite the way that I would go, but it's definitely an option that's on the table. You could also have a face Drew with the briefcase, but if Cody's going to be champion, probably makes more sense to have him as a heel. Drew turned face in January 2020, a few weeks before the Rumble. He only beat jobbers like Ryder and Hawkins and Good Brothers. Did he not turn back in December? I would have said that it was definitely before the Rumble, but I would have said it was more the end of 2019. Well, perfectly truthful, I would have said that he... I'd have to look back. I mean, on the top of my head, I don't remember him being heel when he first came up. So when he turned, I can't say. But I remember not watching the Rumble and there being like a turn in the Rumble or anything. Certainly doesn't come to mind that he started the Rumble as a heel and by the end he was a face. So for me, it was definitely before that. It would have been before that. I seem to remember we started really moving with him a bit like in December as well. So I'd be looking 2019. But it doesn't matter. I feel like we're having a conversation about something that just doesn't matter. Like, it's more important that we focus on like where we're going. And a heel Drew could be quite interesting. Hijack with a big boot. How long have we got? 23 minutes and then an overrun here. What about Drew in the theory spots? Yeah, what? The one where he's got the money in the bank, Cody wins, and then Drew cashes it in? Yeah, sure. That'd get that. If that was to be done, that'd get like nuclear heat. That could be awesome. Hijack grabbing a hold of Apollo. Apollo up, knee strike there by Apollo. Apollo back comes in for a kick. Kick down goes Dijak. Stand in moonsault as Dijak moves out the way. Dijak grabbing a hold of Apollo. Ooh. Lovely work. Shoulder up. Definitely not 2018. The power is out at my house. I don't know why, says Hayden. Him beating jobbers is why I didn't want him to beat Brock, but I was happy for him, says Austin. Austin, I hope you're well. Shout out to you. Faces can wrestle one another. It used to happen back in 80s and 90s, said Wes Lee. Got him on the shoulders. Knee strike. 1, 2, 3. Dijak wins. Dijak, here is your winner. Dijak. So, crowd were into it, though. There was some good action in this. Certainly wasn't a bad match. So, Apollo was up in the corner. Dijak had Apollo. Here's Ilya. Dragunov has made his way down. So, Dijak beats Apollo. Dragunov has come down, booted Dijak out the ring. And now we've got loads of officials. If Cody was there, all of these would be dead. Let them fight. Let them fight. Let them fight. Let's add it to spring breaking. Yeah! That show's only 20 hours long at the moment. Here's JC Jane on the outsides. So, JC Jane. This is dark. This is really dark. Don't know how I feel about that. She comes out and she's like, Gigi's no saint. She ran away from like her brother that she loved so much. She left her brother, a 7-year-old baby brother, with her abusive, drug-riddled mother being abused. She's no saint. It's like, oh, Jesus. God. Can't someone just break someone's PS5 controller? God. NXT. 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 Right, we're underway with Drew Gulak and Wes Lee. Dave's just catching up in Vegas. Pretty sloppy. Maybe making very large bets. Need to know the greatest wrestling match of all time. My house is on the line. Well, I mean, it can't be proven. The greatest wrestling match of all time would be subjective, so your house is safe. Don't worry about the house. Dragunov makes the save. Dark. JC promo. Now we're underway with Wes Lee and Charlie. Would you wait until the cash-in for the heel turn? I don't know, actually. That's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. It could be interesting. If Drew was to say to Cody, I'm a man of honor, I will never cash in on you. When I cash I'll never sneakily attack you. When I cash in, you will know in advance. You deal with what you need to deal with. I've got a date in mind as to, but you deal with whatever you need to deal with. I will never come in. And then of course, SummerSlam, down he comes with the briefcase. Big smile on his face as Cody's been destroyed and he's down. And like Drew comes in and like he's taking his opportunity. And then of course he can be like, you fans weren't there for me when I won the title last time. And you expect me to be grateful that you're here now. So like, yeah, he could definitely, that'd be interesting, that would. That'd be interesting. You could either do it whereby he's a heel and he's like constantly teasing the cash in, bigging up the, Cody, even if you do get the title, I will take it away from you immediately. Like you could have him turn heel straight away. Or you could have him lie and say, I ain't never going to cash in on you sneakily, and then have him sneakily cash in. Yeah, either of those is quite interesting to me, to be honest. I do really like the Drew heel Money in the Bank thing. I think something there to get your teeth into and explore. Not saying it's the best option, just saying that it's an option. Wes Lee against Drew Gulak. Alexander Volkanovski is not interested in a 4 fight with Max Holloway, says Tim. I think Drew should be face at first, just so he can have a good run with the fans, and then can turn heel later on for Cody to take the title, says Austin. Justin, take long in the shower. She does. Justin, shout out to you, man. I remember the one with Edge and Randy. Good match, says Anna. Right, we are just at commercial break. We got 15 minutes to go. Is this our main event then? Wes Lee against... It's not Drew Gulak, is it? Oh, Gulak's on the outside, isn't he? That's where I saw Wes Lee brawling with Drew Gulak. It's not, is it? It's Charlie Dempsey. And of course, Gulak's going to be on the outside. Right. Let's dial back in. We've been talking so much about heel Drew that I need to dial back into NXT. Imagine the booze if ex-con Dom gets the briefcase. Oof. Oof. I'll soon take that over Logan Paul, though. Charlie Dempsey in control against Wes Lee. So they said Wes Lee's body must be worn down after all the title defenses he's had. Ooh, that looked moody. Wes Lee just proper went face first into the mat there. Charlie Dempsey really working on the arm. He's got an arm crank applied. Now he's got a Kimura. Double wrist lock. Good work by Charlie Dempsey. Knee strikes coming in. It's lovely work. I mean, he really knows his wrestling, doesn't he, Charlie Dempsey? Charlie Dempsey bridging, and Wes Lee goes into the corner. The Backbreaker wrestling show I attended was awesome, says Carmen Live. How do you feel when people from the crowd jump the barrier and mess with the wrestlers? I'm not a fan of it. Like Rollins on Raw. Are they thinking they can beat them up? They're not thinking. It's what it is. They're not thinking. It's people that have got mental health issues, largely. It's people that either want to get attention. Like, I heard there was a guy that jumped into the ring, and I'd urge that you just don't watch the video. I mean, there's a guy that jumped into the ring for views. That's it. Clash at the Castle. That's it. And I wouldn't even watch that. I wouldn't give it a second of my time. Because you're just encouraging more people to do it. If those types of videos do well, there'll be someone that goes, okay, I can do that. And then, you know, all of a sudden it becomes like loads of people doing it and trying it. And it's just, you don't want to encourage that kind of thing. So I think he's an idiot, a real idiot. I've got no time for whoever that was. And the one that jumped Seth, I think they're all idiots. That does go both ways, though, and it does open up an interesting conversation about what MJF did. Because if the fans shouldn't be allowed to attack the wrestlers, surely the wrestlers shouldn't be allowed to attack the fans. And what MJF did with the drink and the kids, which then turned out to be alcohol, which makes things even worse. Yeah, I mean, again, interesting conversation there. Don't think you'll be seeing that done again. Charlie Dempsey with a suplex there. Imagine Fury knocks out Cody. It was a plot and Drew cashes in, said Chill Dudes. 1, 2, kick out. Yeah, I think it's a real shame that clip got so many views. I think it's a real shame. It's why he did it, isn't it? He didn't do it because it's good content. Interesting content. I mean, a fan gets in the ring. So what? I mean, really, so what? Someone's got into the ring. I mean, all I do is watch people get into the ring. That's literally all I do. So watching someone get into the ring, I would love it if WWE pressed charges, to be honest. I just think it's a really bad look, and I think it really does encourage other people to watch it, kids to watch it, and think, oh yeah, I can do that. Because, you know, I mean, like, YouTubers are known as influencers because there are people that get influenced by what they see. So you're telling me out of them 5 million people, no one's going to be influenced to try and do the same at some point? Like, it's just bad luck, man. I really disagree with it. It's that kind of stuff that really gives YouTube a bad name and YouTubers a bad name. It's a win for Wes Lee. Wes Lee beats Charlie Dempsey. And now Drew Gulak comes in. He starts kicking away at Wes Lee. Grayson Waller effect's going to be our main event, isn't it? So now we've got two people beaten down. Oof. So is someone going to come to his rescue? Because he's getting smashed at the moment. So Drew Gulak attacking after. He grabs a hold of that North American Championship, holds it up while standing over Wes Lee. No one came to the save. Here's Tony and Stacks enjoying a nice meal. A date. I like where your head's at. So they're talking about Pretty Deadly. What are they thinking? Stipulation. Gloves off. Next week. Yeah. Trunk match. He likes it. First ever trunk match next week. NXT announces first ever trunk match. Guessing the losers, I suppose, like casket match, innit? But rather than a casket, you got to shove them in a trunk. Lowell, Indiana is where VF Dub Backbreaker Wrestling is used. I'm glad you enjoy it, but Big Time Back said, do you remember CM Punk punched a fan by accident after a troll was pushing Punk's head forward while hiding behind someone? It's a problem, innit? Anything where there's going to be wrestlers engaging with real fans is going to be a problem. As long as it's just verbal, I mean, we see obviously a lot of verbal exchanges, or if a wrestler hands something to a fan like Cody does, or Brett used to put the glasses on. But yeah, those kind of moments are obviously not great. Michael said, who would seriously want to get in a ring with these athletes? They could put them in hospital if they really wanted to. I wish someone had. I wish he'd got proper messed up. Because he wouldn't do it again then. And hopefully the video wouldn't come out as well. I agree. I agree. I just think it's a real bad look. I don't understand why Brock dressed like that. He never dressed like that. Especially, he makes anyone take notice. He is healing it up again. So I think he didn't want to come out as the farmer and all that. Because I think that was more his face persona. So, you know, he's mixed it up again. Now we've got a different look for heel Brock. Heel farmer Brock. What does heel farmer Brock look like? He looks like this. He looks like the Undertaker. Right, how long we got? We got about 6 minutes to go. 6 minutes to go. Grayson Waller effects. Let's go. Let's go. Jack said, I'll be at work when Vince returns my call. When I'm ready to call him, I'll let him know. He's not even a wrestling fan. My little brother watches him, and he did it for a dare, said Big Time Baxter. I don't know anything about him. I don't want to know anything about him. I haven't watched the video. I won't watch the video. I would love, as I said, for there to be repercussions. I don't think there will be. I'd imagine it will probably just, you know, WWE might just be grateful of the PR. I'd have no idea, but I'd imagine WWE are probably also worried that other people might try it. I don't know. 8-minute overrun. Unless you jump in the ring with Lesnar or someone, you're probably not going to get hurt. Right, we are at commercial break. Let's go. Let's go. Let's set up for Grayson Waller effect, and let's have a good end to this show. I don't know what it is, man. I feel like Dijak Apollo wasn't really doing it for me. Wes Lee, Charlie Dempsey had some nice moments, but it didn't really do it for me. I feel like maybe the past half an hour, maybe a little longer, hasn't quite hit the same marks as the first part of the show. Let's see what this... I think this Grayson Waller effect is going to be good. I really like Grayson Waller. So this is going to be, hopefully, a good promo. Good way to end the show. Bad Bunny next Monday. Bad Bunny. Jordan Gray said goodbye at tonight's Impact taping. I ran into a ring wearing pink Speedos. Oh, yeah. Who's this? Some dude throwing like old hi-fi systems around. Let's go. And a sofa. And a TV. He's making a hell of a mess. Obafemi. Feel like we've seen him before. Debut? I'm sure we've seen Obafemi. I've heard the name. Has he been on NXT Level Up maybe or something? Obafemi. They've got me doubting now that I've seen him before. I swear I've seen him before. I've heard the name. He looks good. It looks good. What do you think about Jordan Grace to WWE? Be a good signing. Really good signing. The big guy has marijuana high eyes. Right, they're just running through the card next week. Here's the Grayson Waller effects. Let's go. The Aussie icon, the only boss, the true headliner, the global rocker, the biggest main event, the sexiest boy, Mr. Stand and Deliver. Grayson Waller. So we've got the set in the ring. All eyes on the Waller effects. Here is Carmelo. Grayson has the gift of gab, but we need to see him back it. P-Town Tommy G44 said Grayson is good, but Mello is still him. Garbage Town 23. Do you reckon these are real? Spring Breakin seems like a good place for another shoey. Hayes Fan Club 111 said Carmelo already beat this guy and he is going to do it again. Tiny Hands 104 said Grayson should collab with Bad Bunny next. Let's go. Stanford DJ said, I am ready to give you a fire remix, Grayson. I know Paulie D too. Okay. Mello is out there. The NXT champ. Everyone loves Carmelo Hayes. I'm not mad at this, says Carmelo. Despite all the losses you take, you somehow always find yourself in the main event. That's true. I'm more decorated than a Christmas tree. It's a great line. Carmelo said, life is good. I stay winning. Does he lose the title and come up in the draft? Does Grayson lose and come up in the draft? Is anyone coming up in the draft? I'm as big a star without a title as you are with one, says Grayson. Chat is going off. When you say you're him, what do you mean by that? Does it stand for he is mediocre? That is him. Every time I step into the building, they're saying my name. That's interesting. He said, when you say you are him, don't you mean you are them? Because you wouldn't have anything if it wasn't for, like, Trick. Trick's getting fired up. Carmelo's like, we knew he was going to do this. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. You stole every opportunity you had, and Grayson's like, guilty. I like Grayson. Trick turns on Mello soon, said Tim. Let's put up Grayson's accomplishments. There's no. Oh wait, you don't have any. Where are they at, dog? Where your banners at, dog? Some nice shots being fired here. Carmelo, like, put his banners up. Let's see what he's achieved. Oh, you ain't got any? I think Logan Paul's looking for a guy to wear his prime costume, Grayson. You'd be good at that. These two just going off on each other. It's really gripping stuff. Lovely little back and forth. And new. How are you going to do a shoey over my body when I put your shoes on the power lines? And still. Am I right in saying that when shoes are put on power lines, it kind of marks the passing of someone? I hope Carmelo loses. I mean, when they were sat down, it was a little bit slow. As soon as they stood up, it really started to get going. There was some nice shots being fired between them there. That was basically two 7th graders arguing with each other, said Zachary. I think, to be honest, I mean, I don't disagree, but coming off of Bron Breakker, who just didn't have anything like that, it feels a bit fresh, different at the moment. I don't disagree, it's petty, but I honestly, I didn't mind it. It kind of, I like the fact that, like, Carmelo said, let's put up your achievements, and there aren't any. And you could see that that was bothering Grayson. And so it's kind of interesting watching, like, how does Grayson respond? What can Grayson respond with? You know, he takes lots of L's. He's not got the achievements of Carmelo. So I think watching him try to construct an argument with not having many achievements to draw upon is kind of interesting to watch. And so for him to have to say things like, I'm a bigger star without a belt, like, than you are with that belt. And I find that kind of creative. So it is, there was definitely petty stuff in there, but I thought there was some interesting lines as well. Watching him build an argument against someone that's got a much better resume than what he's got, and many more achievements than what he's got. And it did get me excited for the match next week. Porky Pig said, I feel like I'm on a date with Daze. He starts looking at me from time to time in a romantic way. Okay. Lollet, kids pretending to be wrestlers in the chat. Right, let's go. I don't know what he's on about, guys. I just want to say a big thank you to Triple H for joining us this evening. I think that's really cool. I think it's really cool that Triple H stopped by. Really appreciate the support, dude. Really appreciate the support. Let's jump into the poll, get the scores, and then I'm going to run away and do that video. 8 to 10. 7275, 62675, 575 or below. Boom. Austin back said, Josh, yeah, we unblocked him. It'd been a few months. I think he's learnt his lesson. So yeah, welcome back, Austin. Daze, I give NXT an 8, said Carmen Live. Tim said 10 out of 10. Still not enough pyro. Alfie said 8.5. What about you? I would say 7. I was feeling it. I was into it. But that's, I don't know, like, I would say there's about 40 minutes of that second hour that was just really not grabbing me. It was all right. I mean, I was watching it, but I easily could have gone and done something else instead. So there's about 40 minutes there that's just there, to be honest. So, but the first part of the show I was into, and I was feeling it. But then for me, it just sort of, just fell off a cliff. Just sort of, I can't say fell off a cliff. That sounds like it was worse than it was. I mean, this wasn't a bad show. But I can't make an argument. For me, like, if a show, I've said before, if a show's going to get like an 8 or above, for me, on my score, it needs to have like an OMG. It needs to be a, oh my God, OMG type moment. Something's here, something's happened. If you was to say to someone, this show is an 8 out of 10, 8.5, 9, I feel like what you're saying is you need to watch this show. I couldn't, if someone was to say, oh, do I need to watch NXT this week? My answer would be no. It was decent, but what it was a big setup for next week. What you need to watch is next week's NXT, because Spring Breakin', now that's a show you're going to need to watch. That's a show that you're going to need to check out, because this week was a lot of setting up for next week. So for me, it probably clicks in at about a 7. I was enjoying it. And then, as I said, for about 40 minutes in that second part, it sort of settled down. I enjoyed the ending with the Waller effect. I thought that was pretty good. I still don't know how I feel about that Dark JC promo, for example. That was just dark. Quite intrigued by the mixed tag match. That's in. I didn't see that going that way so quickly. I'm intrigued by that. I thought there was some decent moments in the Wes Lee match in that second part. But for me, I think the majority of stuff that I was really feeling was more in the first part. So, like, I thought Roxanne and Zoe actually had a really fun match. Thought that was pretty good. Yeah. Let's see what people think. We'll get to the scores. Roman is killing WWE, holding the title hostage. Alex Bliss Gamer says 8. Porky Pig says 7. AB Jobson said 9.5. I've got a good feeling about the direction the storylines are heading in. Roman is the best. Gigi should have attacked her in the parking lot. Yeah, I'm amazed she didn't. That's where all the attacks happen. Tomorrow, Roman beats John Cena's 380-day reign as WWE champion, making him the 6th longest reigning WWE champion of all time. Think he beats CM Punk's 434. What's that, 54 days away? Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do, because, that's before SummerSlam, isn't it? I mean, I'm feeling pretty good for Roman to have the belt till SummerSlam now. And honestly, after doubting him against Drew and doubting him against Cody and wanting him to lose against Sami, I'm at the point now where I think Roman's going to stay champ forever now. I'm never doubting him again. Just that seems to be the thing, innit? Make you doubt it, and then don't do it. I thought they did a good job of building up Drew. I thought they did a good job of building up Sami, but I didn't believe they would do the Sami one. I wanted them to do the Sami one. Didn't believe they'd do the Sami one. They didn't do the Sami one. I did. Really, I was so committed to that Cody one. At one point, I was 99%. And then as we got a bit closer, because of the 1,000 days, and there seemed to be a real movement. There was more people, more than just Austin, but Austin was, I think, the first I saw saying it. Certainly the loudest. I'm not taking his credit away, but there was more people that came out and said 1,000 days, and then that just started to put a bit of doubt in, but it only moved me to 90%. I was 90% certain Cody would do it. And then he didn't do it. I was shocked, genuinely shocked. So now I'm never doubting him again. But do I think that he'll get to the 434? Yes. If he's going to lose it, SummerSlam is where I'd be looking. But even when we get to SummerSlam, I ain't doubting him. I think he's winning forever. In fact, Austin's going to tell me when Austin's got a better read of this than I have. So I'm just going to wait for Austin to tell me when he's going to lose. 99% and 90%. I mean, you can be blocked again. We already had you blocked for about 4 months. I'll do it again. I'll do it again in a heartbeat. You got some on your hat? Yeah, it's a logo. It's annoying, isn't it? It doesn't come off, unfortunately. It's not like a sticker or anything. A lot of the times I just move them to the back like that so that it's not in the way. But sometimes they just work their way round. And that it's front and center now. It's out there. Might as well wear it loud and proud. I don't even know what the logo is, to be honest. I don't know who makes this hat. It doesn't really fit very well. There's lots of problems. This stream's going to end in 5 minutes. It is. I said Roman would win, but Daze avoids my comments with good reason, said William. That is true. Don't you dare block me, says Austin. Von Wagner should change his name to Adam Copeland since Edge is already taken, says Tim. I will bet all my pyro fund that Roman gets to 1,000 days, said Smurfy. Roman loses at 101, says Heavy Chevy. Well, that would suck because of the Pedro records, which is 1027. So I don't think he will. I think he'll beat the Pedro records. I don't know. It feels like we're actually getting to a point now where there's lots of records for him to break. So, you know, as Austin's just pointed out, he can break John Cena's WWE records. He can break in 50 odd days, which isn't long, a couple of months. I mean, that's still before SummerSlam. So he can break CM Punk's historic WWE title reign. I mean, that just on its own is incredible. But the fact that his Universal reign is more than double the length of that is, you know, amazing. These numbers are just amazing. He can break Pedro Morales's reign as well. I don't know. I mean, like, it feels like we're just getting to a period now where it's like, pop, 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 pop. So the 1,000 days is definitely. I still don't get the 1,000 days, to be honest. I find the 1,000 days one a weird one because what does it mean? When did this become a thing? I think it's because we just haven't had a title reign this long. So all of a sudden, like, I mean, for example, when Hogan got to 1,000 days, was that a thing? Was people even counting? I don't know. There's not. It's weird. We're in kind of uncharted territory because the last time we've had a reign this long, you'd have to go back to like Hogan and Pedro Morales. You've got to go back to like the 70s and the early 80s when I don't think this was a conversation. So it's funny, isn't it, how 1,000 days has become a thing? Because to my knowledge, it's never been a thing. Can he get to 1,000 days? I don't know that was a thing. But we've never had to discuss it. It's a conversation we've never had to have. So, yeah, I believe he's going to get there. You see, for me, I really would say the Pedro thing is way more important. It's one thing to get to like 1,000 days and say you was champ for 1,000 days, but to actually move up the title rankings and actually get to that next level, beat that next person. Like, for me, I think that's more important, but we'll have to see, won't we? I'm never doubting him again. That's all I know. Roman has broken my wrestling heart. I hate this annoyingly long title reign. X Music said, how is your night? It was all right. It was all right. I feel like there's a lot of building at the moment. That's where I feel we are. This week felt like we were building for I think next week's NXT is going to be sick, man. I'm so excited. Next week's NXT is going to be so good. Spring Breakin', I think, looks like a genuinely really good card. Big card, but it looks like a good card. So, yeah, I think this week is laying groundwork for next week. So, next week's NXT, I think, will be fire. We're obviously working our way towards Backlash as well. So we've got that coming up. And I don't think it's too long until Night of Champions after that. I think it's only a few weeks. Because I think we've actually got 2 pay-per-views or premium live events in May. So one at the start, one at the end. So 3-4 weeks between them. So probably not even 4 weeks, but so like, yeah, I feel like we're building to kind of some big things coming up, which is good. Rest with Andy, shout out to you. Daze, where have you got Roman in all-time WWE rankings? I've got him easily top 5. I don't think he has to be above Bruno, and that hurts. But I think he has to, because Bruno was, even though Bruno's got the record and he's 2-time champ and everything. You're talking about a regional territory as opposed to an international company. Like, the amount of people that have seen Roman compared to the amount of people that watched Bruno is incomparable. So it's a very different company. And even though Bruno's achievement is amazing, that he was champion on top for so long, and even though he was a big guy and he had like proper bodybuilding, weightlifting records and everything, and he is legit and he had a hell of a run, I think that it's just a bit of a shame that the company was not the global force that it is now. But saying that, if it was the global force that it is now, then chances are Bruno would not have had the title reign that he had anyway. So it was a bit of a blessing and a curse. You know, Bruno is held in high regard for having such long title reign. But if it was a global company, probably would not have had that title reign. So I think he's above Bruno. I can't put him above Hogan. Can't put him above Stone Cold. Is he above John Cena? Is he above The Rock? He's not above Undertaker. Not above Undertaker. He's not above Taker. He's not above Hogan. He's not above Stone Cold. So definitely for me, those three are ahead of him. Is he ahead of Rock? Is he ahead of John Cena? Those would be the two sticking points. Because I think he's ahead of... It's hard, isn't it? I mean, if we're not talking about in-ring ability, we're just talking about size. Because I think he's ahead of Shawn and Brett. Macho was never on top long enough. Brett was never on top long enough. Shawn was never on top long enough. You're really looking at the faces of the company. Is he ahead of Rock? Is he ahead of Cena? These are debatable. I think because they're debatable, I can't say that for me he's easily top 5. But what I would say is that he is either just in there or he is knocking on the door of it. Because I don't think there's anyone else that I can put ahead of him. I can't put Orton ahead of him. Orton's had a hell of a career, but he's not been given... He's not... It'd be interesting to know how many pay-per-views, as an Orton, how many main events. Orton, I think, has got the record for most pay-per-view appearances. But how many pay-per-view main events compared to Roman? And we know that he's got him beat in number of title reigns, because we know that, is it 13 world titles for Randy? Which, you know, far exceeds. That'd be interesting as well. Like, if you add all of Randy Orton's days together, how does that compare to Roman? I feel like Roman would have the edge. Can I Google that? Is there a way of Google searching like WWE World Champions or something? What list of world champions? Is there one that's got like all of their reigns combined? This is a tricky, to be honest. Yeah. So, for example, I think this is just WWE. I don't think this includes like Universal, or I don't even know if it includes World Heavyweight, to be honest. I think it's just WWE, but on Wikipedia, Roman is at 499. He's had 4 reigns with the WWE title, and he's at 499. Randy Orton has had 10 reigns and is at 680. Well, I mean, that doesn't take into account. You'd have to have a look at World Heavyweight and all that kind of stuff as well. to take those numbers into account, but I think that I think he's ahead of Randy. That could be an interesting one though, where you look at like the numbers and actually Randy might be a bit more of a surprise. Like, for example, Randy has had 10 reigns with the WWE title collectively for 680 days. Roman only 4 at about 500 days. So he's 180 days behind Randy Orton when it comes to the WWE Championship. But we know that the Universal Championship has obviously been held a long time by Roman. But then how many times did Randy have the World Heavyweight? So again, you know, you'd have to do a little bit of work there, a bit of research there, look into that a little bit. That could be interesting. Bob Backlund is interesting as well because Bob Backlund had 2 reigns, 2,000 days. But again, we're talking pre-WrestleMania. And the other thing about Bob Backlund as well is that he wasn't really, towards the end of his run, well appreciated. And so it kind of felt like they had him on top to like push him because I don't think they could find the replacement. I don't think they quite knew what their next move was. And, you know, as soon as Vince takes the company, he identifies that that person is Hogan. So Bob loses the belt to Iron Sheik. Hogan wins it from Iron Sheik. Iron Sheik was just the transitional champion to get the belt off Bob, basically. I mean, Iron Sheik's title reign is 28 days. That's how long he's WWE champion for, 28 days. So it's literally get the belt off one guy and then 28 days later drops it to the other. So, you know, that's how we get from Bob to Hogan. So Bob is a little bit, and Pedro definitely is, he's ahead of Pedro. Bob is similar, I think, to Bruno, long reigning champion. But again, you know, we're talking about before Vince has the company. I think anything that was pre-Vince, it's going to be hard to argue is bigger than Roman because pre-Vince, it's a regional company. As soon as Vince takes it, it's an international company or it builds to an international company. So Randy would be an interesting one. I mean, I don't feel like Ric Flair is fair because if you talk Ric Flair, you've got to talk about WCW. You've got to talk about the NWA. I think if you just look at Ric Flair's WWE career, he's easily ahead of that. But he's not ahead of Ric Flair's wrestling career. So that's interesting. I think he beats the others. I'm looking at some names. I'm looking at like Eddie Guerrero. I'm looking at who had a great moment, some great moments. But we're talking about the face of the company. Ultimate Warrior had some runs with the belt. Yokozuna. You know, these are people that had their moments, but CM Punk as well, you know, had his moments. Randy Savage. But yeah, I can't see it. Yeah, can't see it. It's interesting. Iron Sheik spits on Roman Reigns and Hulk. I make you humble. Interesting. Hate to hurt your feelings. Roman will be and now is the face of WWE to a new generation. It doesn't hurt my feelings. He is certainly the face of WWE right now. He will be the benchmark for generation coming up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he is the all-time list bigger than John Cena, bigger than Stone Cold, and the impact they had in their generations. Roman's not bigger than Stone Cold. I don't think anyone's going to argue that. Maybe someone would try, but what Stone Cold achieved during the Attitude Era and that generation, that's not what we're seeing with Roman and this run here. It's different time. I mean, this is where it becomes hard to compare different eras, isn't it? But the amount of money that was being generated by Stone Cold, and the thing is that it was Stone Cold that was generating it. Like right now, WWE is generating a lot of money from TV deals. And that is not as a result of Roman. Like the TV deals were sorted out like a while ago. And so them selling like to Peacock, and when you hear Paul Heyman talk and he talks about Roman's the greatest, which he has to say, because WWE has never been more profitable. The counter argument to that would be, well, how responsible is Roman for those profits when you're making money by selling the pay-per-views to Peacock and you're selling to Fox, SmackDown, and you're renegotiating USA Network? Heyman's response would be, well, who's the person on top? Who's the person that's bringing in the views? Who's the person that's doing all of that? But the counter would be that when some of these deals were done, I don't believe Roman was on top. So I don't think you can give him credit for when some of these deals were being done, because this bloodline story has been going, Roman's been around for coming up to 1,000 days. Well, I think some of these deals would precede that. So it's a nice thing to say, we've never been more profitable and all of this. But if you actually get into the detail of it, I don't think it stacks up. So for me, like, Roman is definitely the face of this generation and definitely will be remembered as one of the biggest faces in the history of WWE. The conversation of where he falls in the list in comparison to the faces of other generations, it's very interesting. For me, he might just make the top 5. Has he done enough to be ahead of The Rock? That's interesting. Because I reckon if you go to the average person in the street, show them a picture of The Rock, they'll say that's The Rock. But do they know him because of his wrestling or the movies? Like, I don't know. Again, like, how would you ever quantify that now? I mean, what I do know is that WWE's hot period of the Attitude Era, when ratings were just, I mean, if you want to talk about one metric, there was more people tuning into The Rock and Stone Cold during the Attitude Era than tune in right now to watch the current product. We know that. So, yeah, again, I feel like you can find metrics to make whatever argument you want to make. For me, I think it's a real interesting one. He probably just sits on the edge of top 5. It's an interesting one. I like it. It only took me 9 years to give a damn about Roman, said James. Right, we're done anyway. I need to go and do this video, don't I? Need to do this video. Right, appreciate the support. Hope you enjoyed NXT. I'm really, really looking forward to next week. I think Spring Breakin is going to be awesome. I think the card is genuinely looking really good. Excellence of Execution said Rock just wasn't round long enough, which I think is a really fair point. If you think he debuts at the end of 96 and, by the time we're getting to 2003-ish, we're really winding things down. As that next generation are coming in of like Cena and everyone. So I think it's fair. I think it's fair. And when he is around, that's not like a 7-8 years of him being on top himself, is it? That's not a 7-8 year period of him being the guy, because obviously he's having to compete with Triple H, he's having to compete with Stone Cold. So I think that's a fair argument, to be honest. That's why I've got doubt about The Rock. Big impact, super charismatic, one of the most quotable stars in the history of WWE. Multiple time champion, absolutely one of the top guys during his run. Did he do enough to have a bigger impact? Did he have a bigger impact than Roman Reigns? Oh, that's difficult, isn't it? It's difficult. Did The Rock have a bigger impact than Roman? What does your gut tell you? Is it no, because he wasn't around enough? Or does that just not matter? Because Stone Cold wasn't around, but I would quite happily get into a conversation with someone about Stone Cold having a bigger impact than Roman? Did The Rock? Right, anyway, I'm done. I need to do this video. Appreciate the support, and I will see you again tomorrow for AE Dub. Let's